Hello, everyone, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and I don't know. There's a weird delay when Allison's camera pops up. Could be a Video Ninja problem, but you're there. No, it popped up as soon as you started waving. Maybe you did that. And this is Fed Pilled and Moisturized 01. I don't know if this is gonna be a new series of shows, but.
Or just a joke, a one-off joke.
Yeah, like a one-off.
I guess it depends on. I guess it depends on the Department of Homeland Security. You know, I guess we're being monitored.
There is nothing funny about the Department of Homeland Security.
No, nothing's funny.
They never joke. Just the facts, ma'am.
Absolute serious people.
Yep.
Just absolutely serious.
They are the most serious people. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I guess I could give you guys a background on this. I got an individual, and I won't say his name.
Is it one of our members or supporters? Because I don't know the story either. So,
I'll say S. I'll call him S. S sent me an email with this attached, and this is the latest Department of Homeland Security report. It is another one from Diverting Hate. I believe Diverting Hate is the organization that's being funded by the Department of Homeland Security. So Diverting Hate is the authors of this Department of Homeland Security report. And it is misogyny, extremism, the Manosphere, and mainstream social media, which does have, I suppose, applicability to us because we are often considered Manosphere adjacent, shall we say, insofar as we talk about men's issues. And this is the biannual report. So the two of these come out a year, apparently, from Diverting Hate. And this is the March 2024 report, volume 3. So I'm guessing that each volume has 2, and we're on the 3rd volume. So this is definitely an ongoing issue, an ongoing concern, shall we say. This project is funded by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Center for Prevention, Programs, and Partnerships. Opportunity. Oh, okay. That's just some bureaucratese after that. We exist to create a world where all people can be safe from misogyny.
My God. Your tax dollars at work, guys. Taxpayer dollars at work.
Do you feel moisturized? I'm feeling moisturized.
I'm very lubricated.
Yes.
Lubricated by this. Ready to be diverged.
Yeah. Ready to be diverged. Okay, so do you have the actual report up? So again, thank you.
Yeah, I'm displaying it right now.
Thank you to S for sending this through.
S as in Satan? No, I'm just kidding.
Who knows?
Obviously, it's the patriarchy, so it must be Satan.
Obviously, it's some member of the patriarchy that sent us this. And if you guys want to send us stuff, you can do so at badger@feedthebadger.com. So, and if you want to send us a message through our Super Chow system, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip at any time during the show. Best way to get your message to us and the best way to get funds for us. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Now that's out of the way. Where should we begin with this?
Well, let's look at the table of contents. Shout out to the Rumble gang, by the way. I gave a link to Bex. She's banned on YouTube, but she said she would be watching on Rumble. So if you are there, I'm acknowledging you. All right, so let's look at the table of contents. I learned about this in grammar school. Table of contents is important. It's how you find where to go.
Oh, by the way, I think I'm doing this accidentally on Safari. So if I have any issues, just tell me and I will move over to. Are
there issues with Safari and Video Ninja?
Maybe it's Riverside, not Video Ninja.
Oh yeah.
So far.
No, see, Video Ninja was made by a guy who really wanted to give people a place where they can talk to each other during COVID, and so he did it for free. So it works. If you had to pay for it, there could be problems, but this was free and it works. So obviously, it was a guy who just really wanted this to work. It's almost like when a man sets his mind to doing something excellent, he does it. Anyway.
Okay. All right. So table of contents. We got like a smorgasbord of exciting items.
Yeah.
Introduction, executive summary, section 1, growth
of online male supremacy scale, a YouTube case study. An overview of 3 evolving trends. Stop simping, how misogynistic influencers humiliate women to discourage sympathy. Passport bros rise, the disparagement of the modern woman and the rise of trad wives. Hitting the wall and the pervasive sexualization of younger and underage women. More than seasonal solitude, exploring the impact of the holiday season on incels.is. Dehumanizing language on Getter. Who the hell's on Getter? Exploring an overlooked corner of the Manosphere. Okay.
Did you imagine if they actually turned this lens on that gigantic industry, ideological industry that's currently an entire academic sphere, and influencing government and do things like ignore female victims of female rapists? Like, could you imagine if they turn, like, what have these guys done that in any way compares to Mary Koss and her shenanigans?
Well, these people are panicking because they're losing. Like, I watched today, it was like a 2.5 hour, I think, discussion on Tenet Media, which I think is owned by Tim Pool, or at least he is like partly a founder of it. And they had 4 women who are all at least claimed to be non-feminist women having a discussion about marriage and divorce and so on. It was like Pearl Davis, Lauren Chen, Rachel Wilson, and somebody else. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. And it was fascinating to watch because, I mean, they had disagreements. Like, Pearl was, kind of like sparring with Lauren Chen a lot. But I thought it was good and necessary to see that. And meanwhile, on the floor of the Congress, like, it was like AOC and like 2 other Senate members were just hurling catty insults at each other and calling each other names. I was just like, this is the level of discourse when it comes to women in the political power versus women that are just interested in a particular topic. But I think the panic is that even women are starting to come around on this, and they're starting to talk about it. And I know people in the comments are going to throw rage at me because they really want women to be completely irredeemable, but the whole purpose of Honey Badger Radio is to basically invite women to be a part of the solution. So if there are women that are participating in it, it is a win, full stop, okay? It doesn't mean that it's over. I'm saying, yeah, exactly. But I think it was because there are people, like I said, in that discussion, at least Pearl and Rachel Wilson were definitely like trying to hold women's feet to the fire. And at the end, they were like, you know what? Maybe what needs to happen is that women have to hold other women accountable, and we have to stop blaming men. That was what they concluded. Now, will it mean anything? I don't know. But the point is, the discussion is happening. This is all I ever wanted from the moment I got involved, was for people outside of us to start talking about it. And it is starting to happen, and this is good, but it means that we can't stop. And it also means that if I know about it, just because I'm on YouTube sometimes, like watching, I don't even watch Tim Pool regularly, but I came across it. If I know about it, then the Department of Homeland Security definitely knows about it. So but what they're doing is what I think they're doing, so I'm speculating here. What they're doing is they know it's a problem that people are starting to question the cathedral, which is essentially what feminism is a part of. In fact, it's probably the foundation for everything else that the cathedral symbolizes. And it begins with that questioning, like, what is the situation between men and women? Why is it the way it is? What should be done about it? And this is what they fear the most. They fear people communicating with each other and sharing information. They would rather we be cheering for AOC or Marjorie Taylor Greene hurling catty insults at each other on the floor of Congress, rather than looking at what like 4 regular ass women that just make online content are discussing on like another, in alternate media. So, and I can see, and what they're doing is they're trying to direct your attention to what the men are doing. Because if we notice that women are having conversations, people like you, people like Karen, people like Hannah, it's too dangerous because it means that women are interested, and what we need to do is we need to focus on what men are doing. And you can tell how absolutely flaccid their arguments are, because when you look at what they're bringing up, the evolving trends, stop simping. So what does that, I mean, how is that bad? Like for you know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with men being able to essentially assert themselves, you know, state their boundaries,
give things to women.
Yeah, and decide not to just give things to women unilaterally without exactly. Stop simping. But they're trying to make it into something more sinister when they say how misogynistic influencers humiliate women to discourage sympathy. No, that's not what it is. It's literally stop simping. Like, you guys know, simping has to stop. It should be illegal. Like, there should be penalties, okay? Because it is destroying men and women. Like, simping is how we got to where we are now. Like, you know what I mean? Passport bros rise. Literally men deciding, I think I'm just gonna leave the country. They're trying to make this into something sinister. How the disparagement of the modern woman and the rise of trad wives. What does that even have to do with passport bros? See, and again, you know, they're trying to find anything that they can grasp onto, but the purpose of this is to terrify women and to inspire essentially white knight men, the one good man, to step up and stop this from happening, because the only way that feminism can get anything done to stop the patriarchy is to appeal to patriarchy. and then there's hitting the wall and pervasive sexualization of younger and underage women. Again, this is very gross and misleading, because hitting the wall does not mean you're a pedophile, but that's what they're suggesting. So you have to look at what they're saying and then what they're suggesting, because what they want to do is correlate two things that are not the same. Passport bros and trad wives are not related. Passport bros are men saying women in the West are, you know, they're materialistic cunts. I'm going to go to Thailand or the Philippines or fucking Russia, and I'm going to find myself a woman that is more like, it's going to be nice to me. It's essentially what it is, right? Whether or not that works out for them, that's another question. But it's their business if they want to go to another country, yeah. But they're trying to problematize that. In fact, they're trying to pathologize that. So, and the reason is because they are losing, I think, they're losing their grip on the narrative. I think that our talking points are getting out there.
Okay, so the more than seasonal solitude, exploring the impact on the holiday season on incels.is. Dehumanizing language. Okay, we already did that. So section 2.
Yeah, who's on Getter? Wasn't the logo for that like a torch or something? I don't even know. What is that? I remember Getter was a Twitter alternative. Basically, all the Twitter alternatives are dead because Elon Musk bought Twitter, and that was it for Getter. I mean, Gab is probably, I don't know, I don't use it, but Gab is probably still doing okay. Truth Social is basically dead. Yes, I know it's Trump's thing, but the only reason why anyone's on there is because he's on there, so.
Section 2, real impact of the normalization of violent misogyny and harmful masculinity. From hate online to violence offline. Gen Z's shift, how a younger generation is influenced by the Manosphere. An empathy-driven lens to online misogyny.
See, again, the Gen Z drift, the Gen Z shift, they talked about that on the Tim Pool thing, and Tim Pool was trying to say, look, men are moving, Zoomers are moving further right, and Zoomer women are moving further left. No, Zoomer men are moving slightly right. Like, they're just kind of coming towards the center more. But women are going they're going way out there. Like, basically one of the things that they talked about was that younger men are going back to, like, what's interesting is that younger men are getting involved or getting interested in Christianity, like it's making a comeback for younger men, and that there's, like, especially in Catholic and Orthodox and Lutheran denominations, there's a lot of men coming back to the church, but women are going to Wicca and, you know, tarot and all this like feminist, like, you know, I am the servant of Lilith type stuff. So and I'm not saying that's the cause, but it gives you an idea of, like, the diverging. There is a divergence, but men are basically like around the same level. Women are the ones that have gone like off the rails. So when they say this, when they, what is it, the Gen Z shift, they're basically problematizing the fact that men are becoming a little bit more reasonable. That's it. That's really it. I wouldn't even say that they're becoming conservative per se. I think that they're just like reining in the crazy from the millennial generation of men.
Okay.
So
Section 3, key actors in a holistic approach to the Manosphere. I think they missed they think they're missing a verb there. Analyzing the complex role of very large online platforms in mitigating misogynist narratives. Our take: ways to protecting the people and the work.
oh, the work, that is literally communist language. When you doing the work is literally commie shit. But go ahead.
Ways to protecting this.
Ways to protecting. Yeah, this is gobbledygook. This is commie gobbledygook. It's wordcraft. It's magic.
These are serious people. How men's wellness orgs can meet men in the manosphere.
Oh my God! Interventions, right? Stop them. They're thinking about marrying women and having children and buying a house. That can't be allowed.
In conversation with Will Adolphi, author of the upcoming book Beyond the Manosphere: Why I Took the Red Pill and How I Broke Free. That should be interesting because we could probably
we could look at that. Yeah.
We could look at that and
that's the end, right?
Judge whether or not he's being honest about ever having taken.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
I have a feeling that that's a little bit exaggerated, shall we say? All right, let's. Okay, so.
Do you want to? We have some. Let's pick something, but let's do. We got like at least a Super Chow, and you should probably do the things.
Oh, I already did. I already did at least one.
Oh, the
thing. Okay, but I can do them again. All right. So once again, if you want to send us a message at any point throughout the show, the very best way to send us that message, so you avoid YouTube's comment enhancement system, and we get the full benefit of whatever funds you send, is feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And if you would like to support the show for the month, we do have our monthly fundraiser open at feedthebadger.com/support, and every bit helps. So $5, $10, it's great to see the support so that we can continue to be a counter voice to the U.S. government.
Or at least a not insane voice.
The U.S. government, academia, media. We are, of course, the face of the system. They're the underdogs fighting to be heard, whereas we are the face of the system.
That's right.
Anyway, if you want to support us in our struggle, God, that's some commie language there. Feedthebadger.com/support. And again,
support us in our conf. Okay, I got some Super Chows. So right. Sleepy Aussie gave us $5 and says $5 dues, like diggery dues, for the Badgers. Hey Brian, glad to hear that you're sounding better. And Allison, how's your book coming along? Well, thank you. And Alice, you should probably answer that question.
Okay, yes. I have finally cracked the code of the first chapter.
Oh my God.
I was struggling. Oh no, yes, I was struggling. It's taken probably a year and a half to actually figure out how to approach starting the book. Now, that is actually one of the most difficult parts. Ending and starting. Actually, starting is the most difficult part, followed by ending. So I mean, it is actually is a big leap forward. However, that's also necessitated some changes in the structure of the book going forward. But I'm getting there. But it was a slog. Like, there is a lot of things people don't realize this, but writing is difficult. Writing, especially writing fiction. Which is why we have so many lovely journalists who basically write fiction in their articles because they can't make it as fiction writers. But so it's actually, there's a lot of skills that you have to master, and they're quite difficult, and it's almost all intuitive, so you just have to bang your head against the wall until you get it. Maybe some people are much better at it than I am right off the bat, but like, I did need to get some skill sets. So I've got more of them. I won't say I have them all, but I'm getting there. Thank you all again for helping me get the editor. That has been a big help in improving my writing. Who knew, who knew? Getting an editor helps your writing. Somebody who can coach you along to develop the skills necessary to write. But again, Thank you all, everybody who supported me in that. I am making progress. I know there's not a lot to show now, but you know how it is with a big endeavor. Often it's 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, and I feel like I've taken those 3 steps forward. I also, while on the topic of books, I just want to give a shout out to Yulqui, who got me 2 books from my list that I have on Amazon. One is The Collapse of Complex Societies, and the other is Questioning Collapse, which is a series of essays. So this is basically a dialogue. This is the original, this is the criticism of the original, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this and bringing you all whatever insights come from those books. So thank you, Yulqui. Very much appreciated. And shall we go to the next one?
Yeah, the next one is for $5. Excuse me, from Small Token for Brian's Voice. He says the best software tools are made by a guy who has a singular vision. Yeah, I think smaller teams tend to be better. And thank you. And then I got one more. I think that's the last one, Super Chow. But this is a big one. This is $50. Thank you so much.
Showing.
From Macho Man Shark, America's Handsomest Virgin, gives us $50 and says nothing interesting to say, so I'll just leave you with the N-word 37 times, mostly lowercase, except for every prime numbered one, which is in all caps. Also, last time I sent one of these, you didn't read my subtitle, which is outrage. Please fix this error or I will cry. Well, let me look at your, maybe it didn't show up in my feed. No, I don't see it here. Is there a subtitle on the,
No.
Okay. Well, I don't see one.
I have, okay.
Macho Man Shark.
You are terrifying me because I'm almost certain I did not put a subtitle field in the comment system. So I know that there is a place where you can put your name, which you have obviously used because Macho Man Shark. It's not exactly the default. And also there is a comment field, but I am almost certain there is absolutely no subtitle field. Okay. But
Well, she said so it must be true.
we also have a too.
Oh, good.
We got $100 from REI. So thank you, Ree.
Thank you.
Party time! Excellent!
I just showed that movie to Lindsay for the first time last night. We watched Wayne's World. She'd never seen it before, and I hadn't seen it in years. You know what? I haven't. She fell asleep right when the credits started, so she kind of missed the credits. There's some extra scenes during the credits. I haven't asked her about it. I mean, she's in the other room. I'll ask her later what she thought. But I mean, she got some laughs out of it. I also showed her the Blues Brothers like a few days before, and I hadn't seen the Blues Brothers in a long time, and she really liked that movie. She was like, "Oh, you know what? That movie's really cute." So, yeah, I like Wayne's World.
The Missouri Nazis? No, it wasn't.
No, Illinois Nazis. That's the Illinois Nazis. That's from Blues Brothers. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's so silly, but it's great. Lots of good cameos in that one too. All right. Anyway, so you want to go to the Beyond the Manosphere guy?
I'm wondering if we should be responsible and look at the introduction and the executive summary first.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So, introduction.
Do you want me to read it because you got?
I'm almost there.
You make me feel bad, so maybe.
Okay. All right, then you go ahead and read it.
Yeah, I'm not the best at reading, but I will do my best. Introduction. Our vision. We seek to advance a world where all people can be safe from misogyny. Oh, good grief. But not misandry. That's.
I'm sorry, but that I gotta say. This is an impossible goal.
Oh yeah.
And they're literally laying out the impossible. Like they might as well say our vision is to advance a world where everyone has access to infinite amounts of ice cream, whatever flavor you want, and you never get fat or get diabetes. And we're going to get there. It was like it's right around the next corner. And this is going to get funded by the fucking government on top of that. Something this retarded.
Defining misogyny is
it's whatever women think it is.
Well, you eventually will go through menopause and lose your fertility. Well, that will become misogyny.
Yes.
Men would prefer to have a partner who's younger and physically fit. That will become misogyny. Like literally any position of accepting the idea that men have preferences and the right to consent to sexual activity will become misogyny. Like that. I mean, look at this side's attitude towards literal rape when women do it. Like, and they are part of the ideological side that basically said, well, Mary Koss, well, when women force men to have success, I would surprise sex, we can't consider that to be rape. We'll call it something else, because we can't consider that to be an issue of a lack of consent on the part of a man. He just received pre-approved sex he didn't know he wanted when he had it. And yet, like that kind of rhetoric, that kind of logic is on their side. Now, when that's on their side, when you're on a side that removes the idea of sexual consent of the other side, what the hell are you talking about when you talk about misogyny? I mean, when you're basically making it illegitimate for men to have preferences, sexual preferences, and say the word no. And you are talking about that being misogyny, because this is where we're at, right? They basically say, well, the only reason a man would say no to a woman was because he's a fat phobic, lookist, racist, ageist. And the rhetoric is there. So when you're on the side that categorically removes consent from the other side, I don't think you have really a position to talk about hatred, especially when hatred is apparently, I don't want to have sex with fat women. You see what I'm getting at? Like, I have a preference. I have a sexual preference. I have the right to say yes or no. That is considered hatred by these people. And I don't know. That's a fight. I don't know if I really want them to win. Anyway, okay. Through applied research and applied technology. Oh God, that's just corporate speech. Why we exist. I'm just gonna skip over the corporate speak. For vulnerable men struggling with loneliness, low self-esteem, and a variety of other risk factors, finding an online space where their troubles are validated is a beacon of hope. God, these people are sinister. Often they are welcomed into a community of like-minded men uniting under a common enemy, usually women, and giving a prescription for the successful realization of manhood. And it's okay to have an entire academic sphere devoted to making men out to be the villains.
So, you know, this should be read by someone either doing like a fake German accent, like Klaus Schwab, or Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. I could see him giving a speech where he's like, for vulnerable men struggling with loneliness, low self-esteem, and a variety of other risk factors, finding an online space where their troubles are validated is a beacon of hope. Like, I am scarred and deformed. I mean, it's like, you know, like where you're trying to be charismatic, but the evil is just like bleeding through. Like, it's just.
But like, honestly, okay, so uniting under a common enemy, usually women. Okay, so what is the whole narrative? Men oppress women. We live in a patriarchy that privileges men over women. Men are complicit in constructing a rape culture in which they use rape to keep women in a state of fear in order to enact their diabolical ends. What's all that rhetoric? Hey? And how come we pay women to exist in little enclaves spouting these things back and forth? Like, that's acceptable. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Oh, because for some reason we think that it's true, even though it's never actually been proven. All of this, men oppress women, never actually been proven. Never even been presented in such a way that it could be proven, which means that it was some kind of causal statement that could be proven true or false. Never even presented in that. We haven't even taken the first baby step towards proving this conjecture, this assumption about how men and women relate. The first baby step. And we have entire swaths of the academic landscape devoted to women and men who agree with them, whispering back and forth about how men are the enemy. But that's okay. That pressure that's being, that entire endeavor is being placing on society, like taking away any recognition of the value of masculinity, that's okay. We don't have to look at that. But if in response some men form enclaves where they're like, hey, it sucks to be subject to this society-wide threat narrative against us, then the government's like, nope, you can't do that. That's evil. That's that's wrong. Oh, good Lord. And I was actually, when you began here, I was going to say that you talked about the cathedral and feminism being the basis of the cathedral. I think what's the basis of the cathedral is this idea. It's like a power narrative, which grants power over men, over the identities that men have, their expectations for themselves, their willingness to adhere to self-sacrifice in order to benefit the greater society. They want power over that. And feminism gives them power over that. It's as simple as that. It doesn't actually empower women. Its greatest effect is to grant control, grant institutional control over men. So, yeah, this is why they're focused on this. This is why they're focused on, and also why they're most concerned about women getting, shucking the yoke. Because if women stop doing this, the institutions that rely on men submitting themselves morally to this narrative are screwed. And they know it. That's why they're calling all this terrorism when it's patently not. Like, I know I've been labeled a terrorist in the past, but I'm not a terrorist. At least I don't think I am. I actually have a dread fear of harming people. So, but people like me get labeled that because we question the power narrative of the cathedral. Do you get what I'm saying, Brian?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's useful. Because they always project. They always accuse you of the thing that they do or they would like to do. So they accuse you because they know that what they want to do is wrong, but they still want to do it. So instead, they try to redirect attention by accusing you of being the terrorist, or me, or us by association, which is really what they're doing here. You find like the worst actors, you exaggerate their crimes, and then you paint a whole everyone that you disagree with the same color of the straw man that you've created. Mm-hmm. So
in this reality, the seemingly promising community known as the Manosphere prey on this demographic for the indoctrination of radical ideas, infusing hate and violence into their daily lives. Oh, by the way, guys, yeah, I'm infusing radical. I think that there's an important, like, masculinity.
Seemingly promising. We know really what they're doing. We can read their minds. Yeah. We know exactly what they're doing.
I think masculinity has value, and I don't believe that men oppress women. That's radical. Governments and businesses struggle with how to stop online misogyny. The government is hindered by political constraints and inconsistent resourcing, while businesses profit off of these engagement models. Despite their efforts to combat online hate, the opposition remains insufficient, and technology platforms continue to be fertile ground for such ideologies to take root and spread. Instead of merely addressing the symptoms of these issues, we believe it necessitates a text-based solution to address this fundamentally technological issue. Our technology and applied research solutions pave a healthier path for young men before it's too late.
So you know why they say this is a tech-based solution to address a fundamentally technological issue? You know what that means? That means we no longer control information. Mm-hmm. And now this is a problem for us because we had a specific world that we were painting for you. Mm-hmm. You know, like the shadows in the cave. You know, like we were the shadows, and now they're leaving because some people have said, hey, this is not really what's going on. And now we're like, oh, this is a technological problem. It's an obstacle. No, you're lying and we're exposing it. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like,
you're lying to us about reality.
Your power narrative hasn't even gone through the first baby step of being proven correct. And
right.
You have applied it everywhere. Like, it is, our entire culture, our entire civilization is drenched in the idea that men oppress women. And yet, again, hasn't even done the first baby step of being proven true or false. We haven't even started to investigate it as a legitimate concept. mean, that's the thing. It's like feminists will say, well, can you prove it false? I'm like, well, I'm not even going to begin until you can tell me how you prove it true or false. How? Like, do the first damn step, which you haven't even done. And I want to repeat this over and over and over again. This narrative is illegitimate. It is incorrect. Well, okay, actually, it's not even incorrect because we haven't even got to the point of determining whether it's correct or incorrect. Or determining how to do that. And for how many generations we've been laboring under effectively, well, let me put it this way. When I create a causal statement to prove this conjecture, men oppress women, it comes out false, 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 false.
Yep.
I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work that should have been done before this was ever asserted by the first professor. Ever asserted. Ever a glimmer in anyone's mind. They should have done the work to turn this into a causal statement that could be tested. But they didn't. You know why? Because they know if they test it, false, 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 false,
Yep.
false, all the way down. So they just ignore that and they try to shuck and jive around it. And what really pisses me off is the lies. Okay.
All right.
Oh, listen. The next sections I think are really dumb. Okay.
You want to go back to the table of contents?
No,
So executive
look at-
summary. What? Oh, go ahead. I'm
Look at
sorry.
The surfacing positive male influencers, so people know who to avoid. I mean, obviously.
Oh,
Don't listen to
so
Andrew Tate. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, whatever. Like that. Again, the photograph. This is TDS. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The TDS is when someone mentions Trump's name and people's brains turn off and all they can think of is like nothing matters except stopping the orange man. Andrew Tate is being used in the exact same way.
Yes,
And this is the thing I'm trying to like get across to people. It's not about him. It's about he is a symbol. He is a symbol of what they hate. It is any man who is comfortable with his masculinity, that does not apologize, that does not simp, that basically puts his needs first, that is okay with being a man. So this image is supposed to trigger you. Like they literally don't even have his name. They just have the picture. You're supposed to be emotionally affected by this. Do not allow yourself to be affected by this. Do not allow it. So just ignore this because this is used as a tool to make you react. Okay? Let it go. It doesn't matter who that is, because if it wasn't him, it would be a picture of Rollo. It'd be a picture of fucking, like, it could be Joe Rogan. It'd be Jordan Peterson. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. So he's just a symbol. They don't really know the guy, just like they don't know Trump. They're just affected by him emotionally, and they think everyone else should be affected by him in the same way. And he stands for what they think. Like, the way that they represent this guy isn't...
Look at this image. And imagine what he's hiding. So peel him back, and you'll see who they really don't want you to listen to. Right? Who they really don't want you to listen to. Which may actually be, our voice might be there, Karen's voice, A Voice for Men, the Center for Men and Families, all of the people who are trying to bring services for men and compassion for men. They really don't want you to see that. People who are actually trying to develop strategies for men to develop positive relationships in their lives. Warren Farrell, don't want you to see these people. Cassie J, the red pill, they don't want you to see that.
Right.
Beyond, because this is
exactly
that they put this.
Exactly. It's just TDS.
Your eyes.
It's just TDS under another name. It's Tate derangement syndrome. And then they have a tweet here. I can't see what it says. I could zoom in a little bit. Maybe that'll help.
No. Let's not even mention that.
Oh, okay.
It's the unmentionable. But let's look at, if you can zoom in on the positive male influencers.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. So we actually kind of went over some of these the last time we covered this.
Okay.
So fishing. Yeah, fishing the good fight. That's kind of weird. It should be fishing the good fish. The men's circle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this little feather thing is. I can't see it. It's too small. Man enough. Men living. Pensive. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is one thing. Mankind Project. Visible Man. Every Man. Man Alive. And Mahogany, I think. I think that's what it says.
It's all like
Essentially,
why this focus on like having man in the title?
yeah, they think, you know, it's funny because they think that men are like women in that way. Like they can create, I wonder if these are not sort of like exact copies of similar women's groups, and they actually use the same kind of tools and the same approaches that women's groups use. And I think that they don't realize that this doesn't really attract men generally. I mean, some men, but not generally.
We should go and look at our competitors, because I believe the Man Enough people are supposedly the people who are supposed to replace us. They're our Fediverse.
Oh, really? They're the parallel universe evil twins?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Or we're the evil twin. They're the good twin, according to this. You want to look them up? Are they on here, or do you
Yeah,
wanna...
yeah. I sent you a link to the podcast. It's in your DMs. Sliding into your DMs with our Fediverse.
Did you just send it?
No, it's a little bit late. It's probably a few days ago. I could resend it, but
I gotta scroll back a bit then.
You
Hold on.
Scroll there, buds. Yep.
Let's see.
Scrolling.
Oh, We Are Man Enough. I see it. Is it We
yes.
Are Man Enough? Okay.
Yes, indeed.
All right, I got it right here. Yeah.
Uh,
All right, and let me share this. Oh, it's a YouTube channel too.
yeah, it's a YouTube channel.
Oh my
Look at
god.
that. Look at how clean cut they are.
Oh my god. Look at how attractive.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? I think I've looked at. I think I've looked at this before.
Really make me.
They're straight up like intersectional feminist content. It's like straight up intersectional. Because I remember like this, you know, the black guy constantly pulling like his race card on this guy because, you know, that's healthy. That's not divisive.
I'm just saying, look at how.
And the woman pulling her card on both of them. Yeah, really nice.
Exactly what I want to see, right? You know,
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to see.
Playing games with
Yep.
each other. Not
Essentially
having a conversation, but just
Yep.
playing.
Just playing like identity blackjack against each other.
That's definitely.
That's
productive.
I mean that's what it is though. Like it's just, you know, they're smiling and laughing, but they probably hate each other.
All right. We could,
Do you want? I don't. We could, you know what? You want to go through the videos? Want to see what the titles they have?
no. Let's just leave that. Let's leave it for another day. We could do that another day. We could look at
Yeah.
our verse alternates another day. I'm just.
Matthew Hussey on Nice Guys finishing last, and who should pay on the first date? Wow, really tackling the hard-hitting, deep issues that men are really concerned with today. Right on the cutting edge of relationships. Who's paying for the dates? This is like-
Okay. I'm just.
oh my god. How many? You have to have a really high IQ to appreciate the We Are Man Enough channel. Like at least 140 IQ. You gotta pay. You gotta pass the menses if you want to get what they're coming from. You gotta pick up what they're putting down. You gotta like, just really, you know, crush it. So, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's a little aggravating, but
I'm dying on the inside, Allison. I'm dying on the inside. That's why my voice is
I'm
going
already
away.
dead.
My soul is like slipping away, slipping right out of my asshole.
Okay.
Or is that just a fart? I don't know.
You know what? Let's skip.
Okay.
I feel like we need to.
Where should I go?
Let's get to the scale of online misogyny.
The growth of online male supremacy. This
Yeah.
one, section 1. All right, here we go.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna read it though, because I'm gonna give your voice a rest. Section 1: Growth of online male supremacy. This comprehensive analysis delves into the concerning influence of the manosphere across different online platforms, focusing on YouTube, incels.is, and Getter.
Get her. Again, nobody. Okay.
I need to assuage my curiosity.
It's just a Twitter competitor that came out like a long time ago, like 2017
Why
or
not
2018.
Twitter? Oh,
Well, because
they want to target.
They don't have enough. No, I think it's because Getter probably has like a different concentration of people that better fits. Like if they knew Minds.com existed, they probably have Minds on the list, you know.
Okay, all right.
But Getter was, when Getter came into fruition, I think Twitter was still owned by Jack Dorsey, but Twitter was basically paused. Like no one with any dissenting views could be on Twitter until Elon Musk bought it. And even then, some people can make the argument that there's still not quite, enough voices on there. But Getter was competition, and then Gab came, and then Trump made Truth Social. I'm not sure if it was in that order. It was something like that. Or no, Gab was first, then Getter, then Truth. But now that Twitter is sort of like back in swing, all those other sites are losing. I think they're like less popular than they were. Maybe Gab is still a thing. I don't know. I haven't been on there in a long, long time.
All right. Well, thank you for the history of misogyny.
Just saying, Getter is just another Twitter. That's all it is.
The examination of YouTube reveals a lucrative trend where influencers profit from misogynistic content, employing a strategic formula that includes...
I'm going to start a new channel, and it's just called Get Back in the Kitchen. That's going to be my new channel.
To disseminate anti-feminist ideologies. TikTok content. So I'm assuming they're talking about all of the rabid misandry on TikTok. Ugh.
Oh my God. Leveraging TikTok content.
The males, like... One recent video that I saw, TikTok video. This is one that's been doing the rounds. This woman invited a man over, basically told him that he's not getting any sex. When he didn't pursue her for sex, she got upset and called him gay. Is that the misogynist? Like, is people responding to that to call her a freaking child misogynistic? All right, the male supremacy scale case study on YouTube influencers demonstrates the scale's effectiveness in asserting and assessing and targeting diversion strategies. This exploration extends to off-mainstream platforms like incel.is and Getter, uncovering heightened lonelinesses during holidays in incel forums and the prevalence of far-right ideologies intertwined with Manosphere concepts on Getter. Overall, the research underscores the urgent need to address the propagation of misogynistic narratives and extremist viewpoints within the Manosphere, emphasizing the importance of targeted interventions and understanding the dynamics across various platforms. Oh, good Lord.
Is there data here?
Ideological problems with this.
Yeah.
This is a bunch of gobbledygook.
Mm-hmm.
This is the attempt
to...
This is lazy ideologue speak for give us money, but we're going to do nothing.
I like how they're like, they talk about... incels.is and Getter uncovering heightened loneliness during holidays in incel forums and the prevalence of far-right ideologies intertwined with Manosphere concepts on Getter. So is there nothing wrong? Is there like a problem with heightened loneliness during holidays?
It causes men to be up in pain, and then they go and they say, well, why do people not care about my pain? And then people are like, well, because you're a man. And then that now they're going down the rabbit hole of recognizing that men might have issues.
So if people are telling them, well, fuck you, you're a man, isn't that the problem? Like, not the, well, I guess I'm going to go where I'm going to get some understanding or sympathy or compassion or just, yeah.
Because like I said at the beginning, before we even started this, when we were just in the back room, these people, is an ideologically possessed group that wants men to continue to choose the box with nothing in it. No positive identity, nothing but shame and blame for the problems of society. The only identity these people have for men is the identity of garbage can for all of the problems and flaws identified in society. You can be a garbage can. That's what they're offering.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is that they've promoted this so much that women are now turning away from relationships with men because think that they're a poor choice. And the loneliness is on the increase. And men feel more and more alienated from society, from women, from their own families. And all of that is increasing because of these narratives. These are the people who want to push these narratives, but they don't want to have to deal with the consequences. And they're doing so in a landscape that they control less and less of. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
All right. The male supremacy scale. Let me just go up here. The male supremacy scale, a YouTube case study. Together with the polarization and extremism research and innovation lab. Peril. Good luck. We need some like...
It sounds like a woman tied to the train tracks. Like, yeah. Do you remember the intro to Dudley Do-Right, the cartoon show? Where Dudley Do-Right's riding on the back of he's a Mountie on the back of he's like riding backwards and I don't even remember the villain's name. He was just like a guy in a top hat with a.
Flash.
No, that was from Wacky Races.
Oh,
Unless it's the same guy, but he's like the villain. He ties the girl to the train tracks. That's what when I see the word peril, that's what I think of. I think of a woman on the train tracks.
You guys are not
Really progressive, guys. Yeah, really
At
progressive.
American University, we conducted a case study to investigate the viability of executing effective.
It was Dick Dastardly.
campaigns
I think it was Dick Dastardly. That was his name.
aimed at a range of male supremacist YouTube influencers who are prominent within the Manosphere. The male supremacy scale. Okay, here's the money shot. Male supremacy.
Let's do it.
Developed by Pasha Dashgard, the director of research at Peril. Oh, good lord. How do I take this seriously? These are the people with the finger on the nuke, by the way, guys. That's how I take this seriously. They are clowns dressed in rainbow wigs with honky noses, but they got their finger on the damn nuke button.
If Naughty, if you're watching this, please make that the thumbnail. I want like a clown, like at behind the like in some kind of like, what do you call it? Panic room with like buttons.
Yeah,
the nuclear button. Yeah.
With like a map of the world. Understand, define, and quantify the phenomenon of contemporary male supremacy, specifically in the context of online platforms. Employing a mixed methods research design, Dashgard, blah, 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 who cares? The male supremacy scale is a 15-item scale to measure male supremacy broken into 3 subscales. Anti-feminism, because feminism is equivalent to women.
Of course.
Dishonesty in relationships, and women like alphas.
Wait. So, anti-feminism, which is not unique to men, and feminism is essentially an unproven cult, and if you just don't subscribe to it, that's not just one of the subscales. That's like the first one. Then female dishonesty in relationships, like that doesn't happen. Like women never lie, and then women like alphas, like that's not true. Like women don't have preferences. Like these are just anti-reality categories.
It's
okay,
like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me do the reversal. Okay. Let's imagine we had the Fediverse targeting women with this shit. The female supremacy scale is a 15-item scale to measure female supremacy broken into 3 subscales. Patriarchy theory, male dishonesty in relationships, and men like thin women.
Young women, yeah.
Young women. Young, thin women. Like literally, this is...
Oh no, how dare. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a joke. The idea that people are just pointing out that women have preferences is somehow misogyny? Like, what is about all this rhetoric? Like you could go on TikTok and just you can't swing a cat without finding some woman who's like, I am the table. What do you bring to the table? I am the table. You gotta bring, like what do you think that
I choose the bear. Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. Anti-feminism explores how the participant feels about feminism and feminists in general, and more specifically, the role feminism has in society. Well, I guess we're in the crosshairs here.
Yeah, for sure.
Dishonesty in relationships highlights the view that women are not able to be faithful in a relationship and are by nature dishonest.
No.
Okay, yeah, but
no, it means sometimes they are, and also it means that our society supports and incentivizes dishonesty in women. Like,
yeah, doing it right here. They're saying that the recognition that women are dishonest is somehow terrorism. Like, and that's what they're groping for. That's why they have all this peril and terror and violent extremism. They're basically saying, well, if you think women can cheat, lie, eat hot chip, like that you are a terrorist. So if you have the belief that there's anything negative, like it's not even just that, okay, it is literally women are capable of doing bad things.
Yeah.
They call believing that and recognizing that terrorism. That's what this is what's happening in this document. But women like alphas is based on hypergamy and the values that men of the manosphere project onto women. And determinants of the participant feels that women are only interested in high-status masculine men. Oh,
I mean, if they're not, then let's wait. Let's see where the women are that are not proving this. Like, I don't. It's not even like
freaking hilarious. Like, they were
none of
incels.
it's so stupid. This is so stupid. Like,
Well, look at the-
none of this is prescriptive. Even it's just the manosphere is literally men saying this is how it is. That's mostly what it is. Like, even when they say here's how you should act, the most men are not going to be able to follow that advice through, right? So like when I don't know, like say some of these like red pill guys say, you should sleep with as many women as you can. I mean, you could say that's bad advice, but most men, even if they were to follow the advice, would likely not be successful because of women, because women ultimately get to say yes or no. So like when men know this is what women like are, and they're telling you, like when they rate themselves a 10, when they say what they want out of a man, like you don't even need a manosphere guy to tell you this. You can just look on the internet at what women are saying. Yeah, you just look at what women are telling you,
What's really astounding is that you look at the sea of TikTok women saying these things. They want masculine men. They want high status men. They want men. They are the table. Therefore, men have to bring things to the table, right? They want to be able to cheat, and men should just deal with it. Have children that aren't the man's, and the man just needs to deal with it. All of this, you can see TikTok presenting all of this content, and they're saying that someone turning around and saying, "Hey, look at that," is terrorism. Look at all the content that women are putting out saying these things. That's terrorism. Recognizing what women are doing is terrorism. Application of the male supremacy scale. The manifestation of male supremacy online combines principles derived from a broad network of male supremacists. What? The manifestation? What? Male supremacist websites, blogs, forums, and communities commonly referred to as the manosphere. Are you suggesting that this is like an organized effort?
Yeah, we're all working together.
Okay, so you are blaming the manosphere for being a government, taxpayer-funded group.
NGO, yeah.
NGO are pointing to the manosphere and saying they're organized. Are you okay? Currently, online platforms face a binary choice when dealing with content that offers potential pathways to online radicalization. Either shut down the offending account or ignore it. Diverting Hate offers a third option: to encourage lasting changes through platform infrastructure by instead exposing at-risk users to alternative positive content. Positive by their determination. So, in other words, we're not going to focus on the loneliness. We're not going to focus on recognizing what women are actually saying about what they want.
Yep.
We just want to continue to push, men, you get the empty box full of blame and shame.
Yeah, it's basically we're going to maintain the status quo of who gives a shit about men. They don't have problems. Move on. Protect women. Give money to women. Keep women single so that they continue to vote for us. That's it. Like there cannot be a healthy, productive relationship and cooperative relationship between men and women. It just can't happen, because then the NGOs, they lose their money. Like, they're doing this to validate themselves. And they're losing because they wouldn't need to do this otherwise. They know this is having an effect.
In order to test this methodology, we worked along blah, blah, blah. They're not testing this methodology. They're creating a scale and then rating people on it. It's the most absurd. This is not science.
Can I read the next part? I want to look at this. Okay, the scale, I'm just going to jump to this part.
Yeah, just jump to that part.
The scale has 15 items across the 3 sub-scales. Anti-feminism. Number 1, feminism is about hating men. Yes, it is. Number 2, modern society prioritizes women over men. Yes, it does. Number 3, feminists are unattractive.
Not always, but...
I mean, sometimes. That's not relevant. Is that like the more extreme? Because are you like scaling this? Because these are sub-scales. So is feminists are unattractive more severe than feminism is about hating men in your mind? Because it sounds like you're taking that awfully personal. I mean, and then number 4, women use feminism to gain an unfair advantage over men. Yes, they do. Actually, they don't even really have to. Women can just like appeal to men without feminism to gain unfair advantage. But feminism is helpful to
Well,
feminists.
it's helpful on an institutional level.
Yeah, on an institutional
Of
level.
course, what they would say is that it's not unfair advantage because it's correcting the inequalities that we've never really proven exist. At
Yeah.
least not in without corresponding responsibilities. So a balance of rights and responsibilities versus just disenfranchisement for no reason. And feminists are seeking to control. You are seeking to control men in this document.
Yep.
Hell. I'm not doing this thing that I am currently doing. No, you are indeed.
So yeah, feminists are seeking. I mean, it's obvious. Then the second category, the second scale is female dishonesty in relationships. 6, if a man commits to a woman in a romantic relationship, she gets the upper hand. That happens. I mean, just like pointing that out is not. It's not a dig on women. It's just a fact. Number 7, in a
like people will, if he engages in domestic violence against her, they will, she'll have more social support, more people intervening, more institutional support than the reverse. I mean, I don't want to say that domestic violence is the upper hand, but there is a certain amount of concern.
It's the back of the hand.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Concern that's given to women and not to men. And for example, just using one example, a man who is battered by a woman is more likely to go to jail than the woman who's battering him. And we have statistics to prove this. Like, what's really annoying is we got statistics to back up all of the assertions in opposition to what they're saying, and they just ignore it because it's not convenient to their power narrative. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. Number 7, in a relationship, women are less trustworthy than men. These are like, I mean, maybe they're
women are more empowered to be less trustworthy.
Yeah.
And when people are going to cape for them constantly.
Right, exactly. And I mean, among them are women. Like, how many videos are there of women telling other women how they could manipulate their men in their life and like get over on them, and that they have to see the relationship as combative and competitive and about a power struggle. I mean, I've been
sex to get pregnant to manipulate.
Yeah, I've been in relationships where the women I was dating thought that relationships were a power struggle the whole time, and that they always had to feel like they had the upper hand, like that they were less emotionally invested than I was. And I didn't get it at the time. I thought it was strange, but when I look back, it was like, oh, obviously they wanted to make sure that they always cared a little bit less than me because they didn't want to be hurt. So like, what is that if not a problem with trust, And maybe it's because not only are women less trustworthy themselves, but they're also less trusting. They have less faith in men, so it makes them want to be more deceitful because they want to maintain a kind of like a degree of control over their own emotions. So they use it on men. And that happens because women are taught to see men as like something that they want to be close to, but also, yes, at any moment, their enemy. So like, why wouldn't it create like some serious cognitive dissonance in women and a desire for them to be combative? Men in romantic relationships need to be constantly on guard for cheating. Well, that's just 7 reiterated a different way. Women have a biological drive to cheat on their partners. Again, this is manipulative. Yeah, you're just reiterating it again, but you're also being a bit disingenuous. Women are hypergamous is all this really means. And that's generally true. And it doesn't have to be, but it is generally true. Number 10, you can't trust women to be faithful in relationships. You're just repeating yourself. Like, that's like 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all the same. It's stupid. You're just creating categories because you got to get that check.
Are we going to look at the anti-male narratives? How about men are more likely to rape, which is not true, as far as I can tell. Slightly more, maybe, depending on the instrument you look at. But there's no reason to believe that rape is gendered, and yet we gender it. Men are more likely to abuse. There's absolutely no reason to believe that, yet we do that too. We gender it. We put that on men. Men want to oppress their partners. They want to cheat their partners somehow. They want to get more out of the relationship than the women give. That's constant, and it's everywhere. This idea that the men are constantly getting something from women when they're in romantic relationships with them. That's like a mainstream attitude. Is it going to be on this chart? No. And here's the other thing. Like, you can make the biological argument for women cheating, and you can make the biological argument for men cheating. But when it comes down to it, what matters is that people respect each other and care about each other in a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've argued with guys who are like, "Oh, but men should be able to cheat." I'm like, well, then you just made a biological argument for why women should be able to cheat. Because if you are saying that men should be able to cheat because men need variety, well, then why shouldn't women be able to cheat because women want the best sperm? How about we all treat each other with respect? So, but you could have 7, 8, 9, and 10, and have it all relate to feminist discourse. In a relationship, men are less trustworthy than women. Women in romantic relationships need to be constantly on guard for cheating. Men have a biological drive to cheat on their partners. You can't trust men to be faithful in relationships. You hear this constantly.
Yep.
If a woman commits to a man in a romantic relationship, he gets the upper hand. There's a huge amount of feminist discourse around that. That men get, what is it? A sex doll, a sandwich maker, a washing machine, and somebody who's going to wait on him hand and foot. And what does she get? Nothing. Like, that's a constant refrain.
Yep.
But no, we're not going to look at that. We're not going to look at that. Why? Is that just a free action? All right. Next section.
Women like alphas. 11. Women are biologically driven to seek out the highest status man possible. Again, this sounds like there is a relationship between that and the previous category, but I get it. You gotta come up with 15 things. You know, it's sort of like when you were in high school and you got an assignment to do an essay, and they were like, there has to be 600 words, and so you just end up like putting in a bunch of filler words, so you meet the minimum, but you don't say a lot. That's what it seems like. This is so lame. By the way, guys, if you're watching this and you're wondering why it's in a vertical format, there is also a normal format. Just go to the channel. They're both going at the same time. I saw a couple people in the comments saying, why does it look like that? You're probably looking at the vertical format. But the vertical format is good for us because we do get people that have never seen our channel before that come across it because, you know, people are doom scrolling on their phone. And when you're doom scrolling through YouTube videos, it'll just pop up and maybe you'll stick around. So yeah, if you're watching on the vertical and you're wondering why it's not like horizontal, just click on the channel. You'll see the live stream of the horizontal as well. You can just go there. Okay.
And I'm actually considering just going directly to the vertical, guys, just to push everybody towards one stream. That could probably help with our numbers as well, because the more people who are watching one stream, the more likely it's to be boosted even more. So yeah, that's something to consider, guys. So just I know you'll have thoughts on that. But you can always watch the vertical on X. So, although I guess that
is the vertical on X. No, I don't.
Horizontal on X.
Oh yeah, you can watch the horizontal on X. But the thing is, well, never mind. Okay, so women like alphas. Number 12, women cannot help being attracted to rich men. Number 13, women cannot help but be attracted to those who are higher status than they are. Again, these are stupid. Nobody says cannot help. Maybe some men will say that. But I think as a general rule, women are always looking for the best bang for their buck, no pun intended. So that may mean that they will do that. I mean, how else could you explain somebody like Harvey Weinstein? Why are we lying to ourselves about this? We shouldn't be lying to ourselves. We should be looking at reality. Number 14, women are not attracted to men who have low social status. Yeah, those are the not people category. And we've also talked about that too. Like literally when women complain about men, they complain, like, especially when they complain about the men that they've dated, they complain about men who are equal or higher status than themselves, which means that the men that do not meet that standard do not exist. Those are not people. That is most men. So yes, that is exactly right. That is how it is. Number 15, women are attracted to high status men. You're just saying it again. This is so stupid. This is just redundant.
Well, I think they're just padding it out.
Yeah, it's like I said, they're trying to complete the essay. they're just trying to get the assignment done.
Anti-feminism number 2, though. I mean, statistically, people do prefer women. They do prefer to provide and protect for women, and they prefer to deliver instrumental harm on men versus women. So this is like,
yeah, I mean, like,
just
we're literally, if you believe this is true and you're a feminist and you care about women getting their way, we're literally giving you good news. It's solved. You know, like there's a meme of a genie, and there's a woman, and the genie's saying, you know, what do you wish for? And the woman's like, I wish for equal rights. And he's like, your wish is granted. And she's like, nothing's changed. Because
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
So the summary of accounts. In our study, we aim to capture a diverse spectrum of accounts within the Manosphere, including representatives from men going their own way, pickup artists, men's rights activists, men's rights movement, red pill, and tradcon communities. To ensure a well-rounded representation, we've deliberately blah, blah, blah. So the thing is that they've chosen these communities or these YouTube, but I don't think they have any actual identified men's rights activists or men's rights movement.
Well, let's find out, because
yeah, let's go to the channels. Go to the channels.
So first of all, what is a trad? There's no tradcon community. I don't know what that means. But anyway, okay, so we're going to jump down here. Oh, look at that. The below table shows the increase in subscribers from November 2023 to March 2024. Accounts highlighted in red were demonetized by YouTube, which I guess is their way of saying they're so evil that YouTube couldn't support them. So they were demonetized. All right, number one, Sandman.
That's
Definitely, yeah, MGTOW guy. He basically grew because he said, I'm going to make a pledge to make a video once a day, every day. And I think that he's, for the most part, stayed on that. I haven't watched Sandman in a long time because, surprise, surprise, when you make one video every single day and the only thing you're talking about is women in MGTOW, you start hearing the same thing over and over. So you're just like, yeah, I got it. So Sandman, male supremacy scaled metric 93. So he's almost got is that the high score?
Yeah.
Or male supremacy? Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think any of them are men's rights activists, though.
No, I don't know.
See one?
Well, I don't know all these channels. The Real MTR, I don't know what that is. Legion of Men, I don't know what that is. The Rational Male, that's Rollo. What?
Yeah, Rollo. Again.
Fresh and Fit, they're just red pill guys. Rich Cooper channels, I don't know who that is.
Mediocre tutorials and reviews.
Well, I would say
creator who engages in reaction videos to viral clips.
does he have description? Oh, he has descriptions here. Okay.
Reaction videos.
Yeah, male.
That's not
Real
men's
mediocre
activists.
tutorials and reviews is a black male content creator.
A white male
Legion of
content
Men.
creator around the age of.
Why are you telling us the race? Why does that matter? I know it matters to them because that's all they see.
Reaction videos.
You know,
response to
yes.
content produced by others. Notably, his discussions revolve around the concept of passport bros. Okay, that's not. Rollo Tomasi, nope, he's red pill. Fresh and Fit, like they just don't they just do reaction videos?
Well, no, they podcast. They bring a bunch of women on. They dress them down. You know, that's
cars,
all.
Rich Cooper.
Oh, I remember Entrepreneurs in Cars. Oh, okay. That's been a long time.
You know what?
But
I'm gonna drop this here now because I was thinking about the difference between pick-me's and simps. Simps, what they're shaming is this idea that you are giving without reciprocation, like giving resources, so things that you have produced, on a monetary level. So men are giving things that they have created to women with no reciprocation. Whereas a pick-me apparently is someone who just has any kind of sympathy for men at all. Do you see the difference? Like, I mean, apparently I can be a pick-me without ever dropping like a couple grand on men for just random reasons.
Well, yeah, no, pick-me is...
just because I'm like, maybe we shouldn't take their kids away. That makes me a pick-me.
I mean, pick-me is basically... Yeah.
But in order to be a simp, you have to actually either engage in justifying women's bad behavior in really egregious ways, like, oh yeah, well, it doesn't matter that she raped a toddler, what was done to her, what happened to her, or you have to actually be dropping large amounts of funds on them. Whereas if you're a pick-me, all you have to do is be like, yeah, maybe I would choose the man, not the bear, because the bear is an apex predator that probably will eat me slowly. Then you're a pick-me. Like you just the difference is astounding. Think about it.
Yeah, I know. Pick me girls. Look, the label of pick me is only applied to women by other women. Men don't do that. Unless they're male feminists or gay.
Unless they're male feminists.
But like it's something that women use on other women who they feel betray the sisterhood. That's all it is. It's about shaming women back in line. Men don't do that. Actually, pick me girls, men generally are, well, what women would call pick me girls, men generally like, because these are simply women that don't shit on men. Like, that's all it is. They don't have to be like, I'm gonna throw myself, no, they don't have to throw themselves in front of a bullet for men. They just have to not attack them. And so, like, it's
go out of their way. Just
they're not. Yeah, these things are not even close to parallel.
it's almost like pick me is the absence of an activity, the absence of going out of your way to be shitty to men.
Yeah.
Whereas simp is the presence of excessive servile behavior.
Well, it's essentially like, it's destructive though, because simps, they're not just like destroying themselves when they needlessly give their resources, their time, their virtue signaling bullshit vainglorious attitude towards women, but they also destroy those women because they don't have the ability to tell them what is true and right for them.
Honest.
Because it would be a criticism, and instead of like hurting their feelings with mean man words, they'd rather just support them unequivocally. So when men say, this is why women are choosing the bear, men, that's simping. That's what he's doing. He's not like necessarily like caping for women, but he's attacking men. And he's saying, look, men, why aren't you more like me? I'm okay with the fact that women find me scarier than bears in the woods. But a pick-me doesn't, like, a pick-me girl is just a girl that doesn't hate men. And refuses to not, like, join in on the fucking, dog pile when women start attacking men. They just won't be a part of it. So when you didn't say, I choose the bear, they called you a pick-me. Because you should have done what they want you to do. It's a tool used by women to control other women. It's not, men have nothing to do with it. Nothing.
It just seems like there's a higher bar for a simp.
Yeah. It's like
you don't
for sure.
You don't participate in the hate. Whereas the simp has to, there's more steps to it and more effort put in. But there was something I was going to say about this pick me thing. I can't remember. So let's.
Well, I would say that Pearl is closer to a men's rights activist because she does talk about the law, and she knows the stats. I wouldn't. She's not on par with Janice Fimango or something, but and I think there's a reason why Pearl makes the list, and like Karen doesn't, for example, because. Or us, because I know that we're tiny, but they probably know that we exist. I'm sure they know about us, but
they've mentioned us, so yes.
Yeah. So, but
report.
The thing is that like Pearl's one weakness, and so I watched her discussion with Lauren Chen, Rachel Wilson, and that other woman, and Tim Pool was on there, and the only flaw I would say with Pearl is that she's not as good at like articulating, her arguments and being like really clear because she's kind of normie in that regard. I mean, I think she gets better at it, but she does understand the problems, and she does describe, essentially, like, not prescribe, but she describes, like, why are men not getting married? Well, this is why men are not getting married. Here's the data on divorce. Here's the data on child custody. Here's the data on false allegations. Here's the data on domestic violence. I know about the Duluth model. So she is using the talking points. She knows she got them from Rachel Wilson. She got them from Karen. She got them from Kevin Samuels, etc. So she's got a bit of a blend of things, but I think generally she's closer to an MRA than maybe everyone else on the list, including I don't know Araco TV, but like or Stephis Cole, but including I say Aaron Clary. Aaron Clary knows his stuff too, and 21 Studios. So I would say that if of all of them, she's the closest to it. That's all I'm saying. And it's funny too, a lot of, this is another thing these people never mention, a disproportionate number of Manosphere guys are non-white guys. Like probably and I mean highly disproportionate. but they will not address that because they love to play race politics. They love to play race politics when it's convenient. But when it isn't, in the fact that the majority of incels are non-white, the majority of men in the manosphere are non-white, and they are dealing with these problems because they want a woman of their own race, because they want someone who shares in the culture, and they're generally attracted, is attracted to like, and they can't address it. So instead, they have to like either make them look like outliers, like Steffes Cole is a black man in his 30s hailing from Detroit. They're trying to say, look, all black men aren't like this. Most of them just do as they're told, and they're just like, you know, in gangs or whatever, wherever we think they should be, and they're not like doing the worst thing, which is, I guess, hating on women online. And I think that it's not convenient for them, because that's why I always get really angry when people try to play the race card in this, because that is the least relevant part of this whole conversation. The least relevant. And yet they continue to bring it up because they're trying to paint a specific picture. They're trying to frame this a certain way, and it does not work. Because there are men, Latinos, Asians, black, white, fucking Mexican, Indian, it doesn't matter, okay? Like the Indian men's movement is really big. In South Korea, there's a men's movement. This race shit does not work, but they can't help it because they have to paint it a certain way. And so this cannot stand. I will not accept it. I can't stand it. And so I won't even let them use it. I won't even use it as a defense, but I will point out that they will do everything in their power to avoid confronting the truth about the fact that most of the men who are suffering are not white. And so like they can't do it. They can't do it because they have to make a certain frame where white men are on top. So if non-white men are suffering and they can't blame white men for it, then they just have to not talk about it.
And you mean proportionately? Because
yeah, proportionately.
Probably more white people, but there are more white men, period, for example, in the US.
No, but like literally in the incel movement, there is a majority of non-white men. Like the majority of, not just proportionate, majority of the men in the incel forums, according to people who I've spoken to in the incel forums, are non-white, but they cannot address that. So instead, they just say that they're white. They don't necessarily make the claim, but they just pretend like they don't have a race. They just call them incels, and they hope nobody looks too closely. Because if they find out they're non-white, it shatters their whole race construction that they built, and they can't have that. It's never about the truth. It's always about the framing.
Okay, so anyway, moving on. I'm very disappointed with their distinct lack of actual men's rights activists in this.
Of course, that doesn't work.
It's probably because they don't know how to actually deal with our content.
Yeah, I mean, the 21 Studios is like, I guess they have like, sometimes they have MRAs on. Like I know they had Janice on once, and they asked Paul, but he kind of like, he said, "Fuck you guys, I'm not going."
Based in that, like, do you remember?
I remember.
I don't know if they had Janice on, but they were on like a.
She was a speaker
on a news show.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was I think it was Piers Morgan actually.
And
I think it was
the Studio 21 guy. Actually, what I remember is that he did his best, but Janice was just like.
Oh, Anthony Johnson's pretty mid. I'm sorry, he is. He's on the discussions. Oh, Janice knows her shit though. Yeah.
Yes, she does. She's like a Terminator when it comes to these discussions.
Yeah.
He's pulling his fat out of the fire.
That's right.
From what I remember.
Well, yeah, because all he has is trolling. Like he doesn't. I'm saying he's just like, oh, I'm gonna trigger the libs. Watch this, and it's like it's so stupid. It's like, bring the fucking facts. Like Janice has them. Why? I feel like I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Anthony Johnson. I think he's a phony. But
but I want to get back to this because this is 50 freaking pages.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
are we doing the whole thing?
I don't know. Like, let me see. There's let me go back to the contents and see what they covered. Stop simping. Passport Bros. I'm completely disinterested in Passport Bros.
Who cares?
Like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
The disparagement of the rise of
men have the right to do whatever the fuck they want with their money. So
yeah,
I don't know why you have a problem with this.
Hitting the wall and the pervasive sexualization of younger and underage women. Well, that's poisoning the well. I think we can look at the evolving trends and because the rest of this is just goddamn navel gazing.
Yeah,
The real impact
sure.
of the normalization of violent misogyny. Well, I actually, honestly, the section 2, I'm sort of interested in the acrobatics.
All right, I know. I know it's gonna be bullshit. Do we see any? I'm gonna look for a graph. Oh, look. Oh, Venn diagram. That's it, guys. We're done. Go home. We've lost. They got data. Looks like a Venn diagram. Uh-oh. Looks like we're in trouble. Oh, no. They win. Oh, my God.
We're in the
Okay.
in the,
I got
in
some
the
Super
range of the Death
Chows.
Star.
I got some Super Chows. I'm going to read them really quick before they disappear. So, $5 from... Let me see here. Hold on a second. I put it on the screen. We put the Badger feed on there. Okay. $5 from Zapier, so it's just an anonymous. Says, if the genie granted her equal rights, she would lose genitalia tissue. Also, you're welcome for the vertical stream tip. Thank you. Appreciate it. Then we got one from Richard Pierre for $5, and he says, do these women who promote treating men badly repeatedly flick the bean to the idea of humiliating men? Possibly. And let me just double check to make sure there aren't any Rumble rants, because sometimes those go through and I miss them. No, there are not. But there are lots of emojis, so keep the emojis coming, Rumble fam. And I think that's it. Okay. So
let's I'm looking at three evolving trends. Let's look at stop simping.
Where's that? Wait, where are we looking? What chapter?
Just have to click go to the contents and click an overview of 3 evolving trends. They'll take you right there.
Oh, stop simping.
Yeah.
How misogynistic influencers humiliate women to discourage sympathy.
Okay. First of all, simping isn't humiliating women, right? It's men humiliated, women most affected. Okay. Stop. Okay. A disconcerting trend has surfaced within the Manosphere on YouTube, characterized by a series of videos where men proudly proclaim to stop simping. Through public humiliation of women, they demonstrate how not sympathizing with, showing too much attention for, or otherwise being submissive to women can lead to actual harassment and bullying of women. While providing them a false sense of power.
But wouldn't giving women too much attention also be actual harassment and bullying? Like, I thought that, like, what men are not supposed to
clarify what they're saying in that sentence. I'm not even going to try. Okay, the phenomenon is intricately linked to the theory of gynocentrism and fueled by the belief that men often prioritize women at the expense of their own well-being. Yes, they do. Like,
they do it every fucking day.
And
they do it every fucking day. Yes.
The Batman shooting and the guy who...
Oh yeah, I made a comic book about it.
Yeah,
where
men are judged for not prioritizing women. Simp is sometimes used as a derogatory term to troll men who extend any positive... Like, here's the thing, right? If you are going to hold men to this standard, then acknowledge that you're doing it. Because we hold men to the standard that they sacrifice for women. Hell, this report is doing that. This entire report only sees men through the lens of women's benefit. That's it. Simp is sometimes used as a derogatory term to troll men who extend any positive expression or behavior towards women, particularly kindness in exchange for some action, usually romantic interest. So do feminists, when they call out nice guys, is that also terrorism? Simping can also be used in lieu of stanning, which is to say someone is an extreme fan of something. Gynocentrism, originally describing a dominant force on women in theory or practice,
dominant focus on women in theory and practice,
has been manipulated by some to be that societal chivalry and white knight behavior prioritizes women over other groups. Statistically, whoa. What
do you mean over other groups? Like men? What other groups are there? There's no other groups. There's just men and women. No, there's just men and women. So what you're saying is that if we prioritize men over women, that would be preferable to acknowledge, but we don't. And it's because of you. You asked us to put women first. I mean, we were doing it before you asked, but like
an allegation that we put men first. Because the individuals who wrote this report would say that society puts men first. full blank, full
Yes.
stop. In defiance of all evidence. You remember when I said patriarchy theory? If they actually tested it, it would be false, 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 false. That'd be another false. Society, people in our society, and most societies around the world, do not put men first. They do not want to see harms befall women before those harms befall men. They prefer to see harms befall men. They prefer protection and provision to go to women. This is a statistical reality. It's not one of those false things in that whole testing the patriarchal narrative, right? But they want to say that we live in a society that benefits men over women, therefore overt, institutionalized, and set in stone benefits over women are necessary and deserved, and they get to adjudicate over them and get the extra money for doing them. Get what I'm saying? Like they basically get to be the ones who administrate the correction in inequality that favors women or men. They are the ones who get to manage how we correct all of that, which means they get the money, and then they get the control, and they get the power, and they get to write reports like this, and they get to engage in whatever diverting thing that they're doing. But the justification for it is because they're correcting an inequality that women face and men don't. And of course, it just so happens that they're accusing people or society or institutions of the thing that people hate most. So in other words, most people do not like the idea that men benefit at the expense of women. They are greatly motivated because they don't like the idea that men are benefit at the expense of women. They prefer that women be benefited. This is a statistical reality about people's attitudes about benefit going to men or benefit going to women, harm going to men or harm going to women. So if you are a person who's interested in money and control, you might go out and say, hey, I see a way that men are benefited and women are harmed that you don't. And if you give me money, I can correct it. Just like freaking Thetans and like Scientology. You know, I see these invisible forces that are doing bad things. If you give me money and control, I can correct it. So of course they don't want to recognize, they don't want the growth of the recognition that, oh, actually people do care more about harms to women and benefit to men. You know, they do care about preventing benefit to men at the expense of women. Therefore, this thing that we're exploiting, you know, we might not be able to exploit it as well if everybody knew it existed. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or you just phased out there for a bit. Okay, men going their own way, for example, identifies itself as a reaction against the perceived misandry of gynocentrism. This concern over gynocentrism in society pulls a conspiratorial mindset into evaluation of contemporary gender norms. Again, patriarchy,
suggesting there is a grand conspiracy to center women and feminism. Yep. To center women and feminism in our culture at the expense of men and the traditional gender binary.
In a document that has spent how much time talking about the pain that men are in due to loneliness and
they can't, they have no, there is no rational like argument against MGTOW. Like you literally can't. What do you want? Like, no, seriously, it's like Passport Bros. What are you saying? I don't want men to not want to be around women, but I don't want men to be around women.
Like I said at the beginning, they do not regard men's preferences to be legitimate.
Right.
Period. They just don't.
They have no
position that they're in.
They have no answer. They just don't like that men are making choices. They don't like it.
They don't recognize the rape of men. They don't recognize the coercion of men. They don't recognize the exploitation of men, and they do not want anyone else to recognize it because then they would have to answer to what they're doing. Right?
Yeah.
In this very document, this taxpayer-funded, government commissioned document, they are saying that that the men going their own way are pointing out that society puts women's interests ahead of men's. I mean, they've already acknowledged that men are in pain, that men are suffering. That's why they're turning to these other groups. But this is not what's important. What's important is that men, we still see men in terms of how they affect women, the benefit to women. This entire document is a demonstration of what men going their own way say about gynocentrism. And of course, they're not going to recognize it. They are the thing. This is the thing. This is the thing. They are the thing. They are the gynocentrism. And of course, they're not going to recognize it because they think of it as completely legitimate based on a narrative, a power narrative about society that has never been proven. Hasn't even gotten to the first step of being proven. First baby step. The conspiracy may or may not. Oh God, I'm not even going to go there.
I'm going to read it. No, I'm going to read this. This conspiracy may or may not, depending on the influencer, dovetail with broader rhetoric around the Great Replacement and the ways in which Jews and other enemies of white people enlist feminism to undermine the white race and Western culture.
Well,
this is the line they're trying to connect. And by the way, the Great Replacement, the left has been talking about this for years. You can find several clips of MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, fucking what's the public broadcasting radio station? PBS, NPR, like ABC in fucking Australia, the BBC, the CBC. They have all talked about it. They all say it. Demographics is destiny. Great Replacement. White people are going to be a minority. They've been saying it. They're the ones that have been saying it. And if we point out that they've been saying it, they call us the conspiracy theorists. Now, this has nothing to do with this MGTOW shit. They're just drawing like they're making.
Want to read it.
Yeah, I know, but I gotta address it because it's a lie. They're trying to connect a lie to another lie and make a super lie. It's still a lie. It's still a lie, dude.
I think that this has gone well beyond white people. I mean, pretty much nobody is breeding anymore, except for the African baby making slave state.
Yeah, I know, but
irony.
They don't care about that because they're trying to change the demographics so they stay in power forever, and at the same time they're attacking the men like as a group to like keep them, so they're just destroying society regardless. Of course, they are having families. They are doing fine. They're not taking their own advice. But I digress. So
okay. The content of the Stop Simping trend predominantly comprises videos sourced from various platforms, with a majority from TikTok depicting instances where men humiliate or reject women, often in response to perceived entitlement.
How about actual entitlement? You mean like the girl who was taken to fucking Cheesecake Factory? You think that was she set up?
These videos portray simping and gynocentrism as pervasive social issues and argue for the devaluation of women, showing them as inferior to men and advocating for their subservience. Wow, that escalated quickly.
I mean, it's based, but it's not happening, guys.
Going from a woman being like, I can't believe you took me to Cheesecake Cafe, and the guy being like, get out. I'll take you home.
Yeah. Obviously, he thinks he's superior, and he's making her kiss the ring.
Like, if he doesn't get, like, the thing is that men think of themselves as superior if they don't open their wallets for women, if they decide that they have preferences. This is insane. This is like abuser talk. If you don't like me punching you in the face, that just means you think you're better than me. What? Mm-hmm. This is bullshit. You're right. This is a super lie. This dynamic is also meant to inverse the perceived power imbalance that women have over men in dating romantic contexts. The commonly cited grievance among male supremacists. Well, okay, so yes. I wonder what they think of the soft guy era. Like that's basically men expecting women to pay for them. Is that
grizzle?
Grizzle. You get, is that male supremacy? Well, in which case is the reverse female supremacy, wherein women are depicted as the sex empowered to reject men's advances? No. Like this is. Oh God, they're smearing a bunch of crap together to create a narrative, a fear narrative. It has nothing to do with rejecting men's advances.
How does humiliating women on TikTok in like a video give men power? Like, when you watch one of those videos, do you feel yourself getting stronger? Like, what do I like check my bank account? Holy shit, I got another $1,000. Like, I mean, like, this is so stupid. It's so ephemeral. It's like, it's woo. This is woo.
Well,
Ladies.
it's actually really destructive woo.
Yeah, it's
Because
destructive
now
woo.
They're groping towards men rejecting women's entitlement. So
Ladies, put down the sacrificial bat for a second and come join us in reality.
They're presenting men rejecting women who are expecting them to do things like pay for stuff. Like, I don't know, they'll call them up and pay. I want you to pay for my nail appointment before I go on a date with you, stuff like that. And men saying, no, I'm not doing that. Like, what do you bring to the table? And they're presenting that as them being salty that women are rejecting men's advances.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, this is incoherent. You're right. It's woo. It's just nonsense. This is a nonsense paragraph. Stop simping content thus reverses the perceived power dynamic, depicting men as the rejectors instead of the rejected, playing into the fear and pain of rejection, restoring masculinity by humiliating women and giving men power. Yes, but men have every right to reject women. Like, the premise of this paragraph is that men don't have a right to reject women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see that? And I began all of this and I said, the problem with these people, or the ideological position that they take, is men don't have the right to their own consent. They don't have the right to consent to what happens in a relationship. They don't have a right to consent to what happens in dating. They don't have a right to consent to what happens in sex. They don't have a right to their own preferences in any of those spheres, right? And here we have, this paragraph makes no sense unless you do not think men have the right to reject women. And they do. Because anything else, diverting hate, is rape. Like, this document is advocating rape. It is advocating removing a man's right to consent to the use of his money, the use of his time, and the use of his penis. Like, I can't I want people to see this. This document is a rape manual. It's a justification for delegitimating men's right to consent. It's a justification for saying men shouldn't have a right to consent. If they don't consent to you sexually, it's because he's a lookist. If he doesn't consent to you financially, it's because he feels like he's a supremacist. He's a male supremacist. He should be opening his wallet to you, or he's immoral. If he doesn't consent to whatever you bring to a relationship, again, male supremacist. He thinks that he's better than you. He's a man who doesn't want to benefit women. Go get him. Kill the witch. You know, like, this is crap. This entire document is morally bankrupt on such a fundamental level that I can't fucking believe that people aren't in the streets asking the freaking federal, the IRS, why is my tax money going to this shit? Why is my tax money going to justifying rape, sexual assault, and relationship coercion? Because that's what this is. This is the justification of removing men's right to consent. Good Lord. You know what? I'm done. Fuck it. I don't think this document is going to get any worse.
That escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Oh, come on, Brian. Is it Kenny?
No, you're right. No, I mean,
literally saying that men don't have the right to reject women.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. It's just, I mean, of course, right? I mean,
I guess we could see if it can.
No, we could end it here. I mean, it's been almost 2 hours.
Into the metrics reveals the trouble.
Oh, look! This is great. Okay, I want to look at this. Dehumanizing language on Getter, exploring an overlooked corner of the Manosphere, and they have like a list of terms. Okay. Look at number one. Whammon is like violation. It's got a violation scale, and it's the top. Whammon is number 5. It's 5 points.
I don't
You know, times are changing.
A glimpse into
ladies can do stuff now.
A glimpse into the metrics reveals the troubling growth of channels promoting this trend in just 1 month.
Now I know we got to use whammon. It's the top word. Violation scale 5.
Okay. Brian, just bring taking you back to the simping thing.
I'm sorry.
The growth of channels promoting men's right to reject women.
What are we going back to?
Here we are. We are at the stage. We are at the stage of societal something. I don't know. What do you want to call it? Collapse, corruption, rot? We're at the stage where the government is putting out documents that explain how men rejecting women is illegitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Is morally wrong. Can you I need a scale. Brian, we need a scale.
I like
to apply it to this document.
I know I'm going to use women at every opportunity because I didn't know it was being flagged by the fucking government. If you say or femoids, which I don't like foids or femoids as much, and not because I'm insulted. I just don't think it's got the same zing to it that whammon has. Whammon is like it's perfect whammon because there's like a wah, which is like they're crying. And then you still get to say men at some point. It's perfect. Whammon. I like it. Femoids, feminazis. It's old school, I guess. Incel. I mean, I'm I don't know why that's offensive to anybody.
Top G. Nickname.
Top G, yeah.
But look at the definition for women.
We are all top Gs. Allison, you're a top G as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, thank you.
Foids.
Okay, let's look at the misspelling the word woman, a derogatory term primarily used by incels that implies women are unintelligent and lacking common sense. This is a direct violation of example Facebook's hate speech policy. No.
Oh, really? Wait, what?
No.
Whammon is a direct violation of the Facebook hate speech?
Probably it is.
No, I use it all the time on Facebook. You know what? Maybe that's why I've been getting flagged.
That's why you keep getting
like I've gotten some warnings, and they're like,
okay.
your posts have. I'm like, what? Like I don't understand.
All right. But this definition, and somewhere else they also say that whammon means coldness, women who are cold. This is not correct. It's in the freaking word. Whammon.
Yeah.
Who whine and complain. And that's the entirety of their personality. Women who play the damsel.
Well, femoid is to use emphasize the purportedly cold nature of women and dehumanizes them. But no, women dehumanize men, and then the men get mad because they've been dehumanized.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, the whole narrative dehumanizes them. The original narrative that's completely not even gotten to the point of being presented in a way that could be tested. Men oppress women, dehumanizes men. All right, and now we have all the knock-on effects of that. Congratulations. And now we have a government document that basically justifies or basically explains why men rejecting women is invalid.
well, look. There's a chart. We have charts, guys. We have data. Quantity of posts containing key term. In case you want to know. Look at in the is this on the incel forums? Let me see.
Getter or something.
I think this is Getter. So femoids is 71, feminazis 81, incels 297. So incel is actually the highest, which is actually a derogatory term for men, and it's the highest. Top G is 161, and whammon is at 295. We gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. We gotta pump those numbers up.
Okay. This is stupidest shit.
It is really stupid. This is where our money goes, guys.
Of actually solving problems.
Somebody sat there and counted how many times whammon was said, and they got paid for it.
We could be paying for a suicide helpline. We could be paying for legal help for men going through custody issues. We could be paying for resources for men who've experienced sexual abuse that doesn't start right off the bat by minimizing it. We could be doing all of these things. Instead, we are constructing a document that explains why men can't consent to sex to fat women. Or can't have to. I'm simplifying it. But this is what this is. Men don't have a right to their preferences. Men don't have the right to say no. Men don't have the right to reject women. That's what this is. And then also, for some reason, if men like women who are thin and young, that means they're pedophiles. I have a serious suspicion that that is bullshit. I mean, we could take a look at that one because I was a little bit.
Which one?
It's go to the table of contents. Go down a bit. Empathy driven. No. Hitting the wall. Hitting the wall. You're gonna have to.
Where's that?
Go up. Hitting the wall. It's overview of 3. Yep, there we go. I'm gonna read.
Is it right here? Where is it?
Yep, that's it. That's it. You got it.
Oh, these?
Yeah, hitting the wall.
Okay.
Hitting the wall has persisted for several years and is rooted in the harmful notion that a woman's value is solely derived from her physical appearance. This troubling narrative centers around women who are judged as too old, divorced, or otherwise considered undateable. Yeah, well, but men have every right to not want to date them. The end.
Yeah, I mean, like...
the entire premise of this paragraph is men don't have the right to their preferences. Again, like, I can't believe at the beginning of this, I said this at the very beginning that this is what this document would be. And this is what this document was.
Mm-hmm.
It's just men don't have a right to their preferences. Now, I want to see where it tries to say that while the hitting the wall, I just went down to the final paragraph. While the hitting the wall trend purely perpetuates harmful stereotypes and actively contributes to the egregious objectification and devaluation of women, we are seeing it beyond the confines of YouTube. All right. Okay. If you consider yourself to be the table as a woman, then you are constraining your value to your fertility, your youth, and your beauty. The end. Like, if you want to talk about the things that you bring to the table, then you are not constraining your value to your youth, your beauty, and your fertility. You're actually saying, I have other things to offer. Now, maybe men aren't interested in those other things. That's their decision. You know, that's their right, because men have a right to their preferences. In incel communities, the notion of hitting the wall is burgeoning as a persistent and menacing ideology within male supremacist spheres, whereby they place a higher value on younger women and girls. This pedophilic type mindset can be seen on sites like incels.is that unabashedly refer to girls as young as 12 as objects of desire. Okay, well, get rid of that concept.
But how old is the men? How old are the guys that are on there, though?
Who knows?
How do we know they're not 12 or 13 years old? Like, how do we
This
know?
concept is also used to undermine women's perceived power in sexual romantic relationship contexts, as these male supremacists ironically imbue women with supreme power authority over men by determining which men will be validated as masculine and sexually successful and which ones will not. Yes, women also have preferences. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, how rampant is, like, pedophilia in public schools? I'm just gonna call it pedophilia because that's what it is. Like, I feel like every couple of weeks I cover a story on the news show where a teacher was messing around with an underage boy, almost like at least like every other week. So, like, but nobody says, and they're still calling it, like, you know, an affair instead of what it is. But okay. So, okay, I mean, like, that's not news. That's, you know, women are allowed to have preferences, like, no matter what they are, no matter how, you know.
Yeah. How bizarre it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's women's preferences that apparently drive men's participation in society. So you'd understand why the institutions are trying to say, well, they're fine, but men's preferences are bad. Okay, yeah. I'm going to from hate online to violence offline. That's the one with
where?
Just go to the
table of contents.
Temple contents, section 2.
Hate online and violence online?
Yes. Okay. The manosphere unabashedly thrives on the endorsement and glorification of violence. Really? The propagation of threats permeates online forums, comment sections, posts, resulting in a tangible real-world consequence.
Oh boy, here we go.
Particularly alarming is the romanticization
Elliot Roger
of violence against women within these online spaces. Numerous perpetrators of mass violence events had drawn direct inspiration from extremist, misogynist ideologies acquired online. A decade ago, the most infamous of these events took place in East
Isla Vista.
Isla Vista, where Elliot Rodger became an incel deity in these online communities. An incel deity.
Sure. I mean,
Well,
like you,
well,
what
why
you,
not?
I mean, you've lied about everything else, but I'm gonna believe you now. We're gonna take your word for it.
In 2023, the largest mass shooting within the U.S. was in Allen, Texas. The shooter shared dozens of posts on his social media account celebrating radical, misogynist, anti-Semitic, and racist viewpoints. In his personal journal and forum posts, he used language commonly found within incel communities when describing his interactions with women. Well, but that just means that he was experiencing the same thing that incels did. The role of online creators in the radical content that the mass shooter consumed cannot be understated. His worldview and personality had become shaped by the extremist content he found online. The FBI, and not by the fact that he's dealing with a society that sees him solely in terms of women's benefit and just marginalizes his issues. That can't be what's creating the destruction. No. The FBI and law enforcement's increased monitoring. You know what?
Yeah.
But do we even need to go through this?
No, I think we know this is gonna be the same shit.
It's always the same shit.
Yeah, it's always the same shit.
Misogyny.
Well, here's the Venn diagram, so you know.
Okay, let's.
That's basically it. If you take easy access to guns, misogyny, and far-right extremism, you get gun violence against women. It's that simple, guys. Just disarm, brainwash, and I guess like make everyone into communists, and it's all good. We'll be fine. That'll eliminate all three of those things, and all of a sudden we'll live in the utopia for women. I mean, men will be suicidal and depressed and purposeless and directionless, but who gives a shit? Fuck them. They're not people. But women will be safe at last when men have become disarmed, bug-eating, pod-living communists that love women unconditionally. But don't talk to them or look them in the eye or anything like that. Just like, you know, just keep them safe, but don't actually ask for anything or expect anything from them, and then we'll be good. Because that's literally what this Venn diagram asks.
And they have no right to any of their own preferences at all. Like that's all of this is just poisoning the well. First of all, it's not a hell of a lot of stuff here. They also talk about a former student from the University of Waterloo. The attack took place during Pride Month and is believed by investigators to be a hate-motivated incident related to gender expression and gender.
We don't know that.
But the other thing is that isn't that the one that was potentially gender fluid?
I don't know. I mean, there have been a number of incidents committed or perpetuated by trans activists. In
2023, the United States again broke its record for mass shootings in a year. That's mass shootings. And there's no indication that 2024 will be different. As individuals spend more time online and are continually exposed to increasingly radical and violent content, we can expect this trend of online to offline violence to continue to proliferate. So the increase in crime over the last few years is not due to certain immigration policies or defunding the police or single moms. It's due to online misogyny.
Of course. Yeah. It's the one thing that men are most primed to do is hate women.
Okay.
Whammon. I misspoke. Hate whammon.
And of course, all of that, like that couple of paragraphs justifies this entire document about how men don't have a right to their sexual preferences. Gen Z shift, how a younger generation is influenced by the manosphere. Men and boys from the Generation Z are more prone to view feminism as harmful compared to their counterparts in the baby boomer generation. I'm just going to read the first sentence of each paragraph. A 2022 report released in the UK highlighted that 70% of teachers are reported experiencing misogyny from students in that year. Well, of course, the students who are vulnerable to the teachers should be investigated for harming their teachers.
What?
The authority is sort of inversed here. Like, teachers don't have to take responsibility for their authority over their students. Their students have to take responsibility for how they affect their teachers. In 2023, an Australian study found widespread evidence of sexual harassment, sexism, and misogyny perpetrated by boys towards women teachers, and the ominous presence of Andrew Tate in shaping that behavior.
He was looming over the students in spiritual form. When they put him in jail and struck him down, he became more powerful than they could possibly imagine.
Again, how many of these female teachers are actually abusing these boys?
God. Look, if these
abusing them?
I know. If these women can't handle boys getting lippy with them, they shouldn't be teachers. They should get male teachers in there. But, can't do that.
Or maybe there's less raped boys too. However,
yeah, probably.
The countries like the UK and Australia, the US is far behind its counterparts in the research, the pervasive and growing effects of misogyny. All right, so we found things that female staff in juvenile detention facilities are basically preying. It's basically open season on the boys in those facilities, right? And we find a high degree of sexual abuse by female teachers towards male students in schools. And we're also, statistically, there's a large amount of boys in high schools and colleges who report sexual abuse, often by adult women. Okay? That's not important. What's important is Andrew Tate, the looming shadow of Andrew Tate.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get rid of, men who are more misogynist, shall we say, often have been sexually abused by women. If we want to get rid of the one, perhaps we should address the other, instead of creating these retarded reports justifying why men shouldn't have the right to their sexual preferences, why women should be able to force men to make the decisions that they prefer. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting into the weeds.
Well, maybe we should, if you're going for 2 hours and it's 9 o'clock.
Just one last section. An empathy-driven lens into online misogyny. Do you see that section?
Yeah, I see it.
For vulnerable, confused, and lonely men, who we don't really care about, except how they affect women, it's hard to resist the siren song of the Manosphere. In the bosom of silver-tongued Manosphere influencers, these men find a space where their struggles are validated. Well, are they not valid? So basically what they're getting is a validation for their pain from these groups. But you can't validate their pain, because if you were to validate it, if the ideologues who produced this document were to validate the struggles of men and the situation they're in, they would have to call into question their ideology. So they're not going to do it. So men are never going to have their struggles validated by these people. They're always going to insist on giving them the box of nothing. Their tormentors, women or themselves, are identified, in the path to the successful realization of manhood is laid plainly before them. So they actually have some manhood that they can attain, as opposed to what you give them, which is a box full of, masculinity is worthless except for it's responsible for all the evil in the world. Few other alcoves of the internet can compete. From this narrative, we hold two takeaways that will be explored in this section. One, the brand of masculinity that the Manosphere content creators sell is harmful to men and boys. So apparently the brand of masculinity that validates men's struggles is harmful to men.
How about no?
Two, to address the danger of this Manosphere on all of us, we must take men's issues seriously and adopt an empathetic approach to empathetic approach to countering online extremism.
Liar!
The harm of problematic metrics of manhood. The Manosphere has tactfully.
Maybe they mean tactically, tactfully. Excuse me while I
Excuse me, good.
Excuse me while I seize this identity really quick.
Do you mind if I just get in there? Just get in there. Don't mind my grasp. and precarious masculinity and offered up exactly what men want. And why is masculinity precarious? Maybe it's because we all live under an ideology that says that there's nothing good about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Template of successful manhood. While philosophies vary in their teachings, the Manosphere gospel seems to be generally propounding a masculinity archetype that elevates dangerous qualities like unrealistic male aesthetics, substance abuse, and unhealthy emotional coping mechanisms. Men and boys who consume this message, actively or subconsciously, are being hurt.
Wrong.
No, I don't think so.
What?
And also, like, the Liver King is not a Manosphere guy. He's just a guy that does bodybuilding. But of course they're gonna tell us that like going to the gym, that's also toxically masculine, right?
One such consequence of this messaging, especially that related to physical prowess and masculine aesthetics, is a rise in self-harm and unhealthy fitness habits in men. Okay, what does the role of romance covers novels have in pushing this?
Yeah, where are men getting this crazy idea that they should be fit to attract women? Where does that crazy idea come from?
For example, but of course it has to come from men. I mean, we can say that the beauty ideal that's inflicted on women, allegedly, comes from men, but we can't say that actually women do want muscular men. We can't say that maybe that's inflicted by women. For example, Manosphere fitness content departs from accepted training and health content because of its promotion of, okay, don't care.
You mean, like, yeah.
You're going to blame the men who are like, okay, this is how you get swole to attract the ladies. Where do you think the pressure is coming from? Do you think that men just invented this? Well, why don't we take steroids for no reason? We just decided that muscularity is desirable, and we just made women want us to be muscular. Is that what happened? Okay.
I mean, I think that this is another thing too, is that when it comes to performance enhancing drugs, like for like steroids and stuff, I don't think that it's like I think that it's not exclusively to men, because women use them too, but it's not like a one-sided conversation. There's guys that are for it and there are guys that are against it, just like everything else. There are people who are vegans, there are people who are carnivores. There are people who, believe in fucking strength training, and there are people who believe in cardio. It's whatever. Like, this is not, you're trying to make this into a thing, and it's not a thing, right?
Okay.
So.
All right. So this document goes on to call out men who talk about the grind set, like getting rich, getting a business,
Sure.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the conclusion is this. So you go to the gym, you get a job, you have a business, you get wealthy, you get fit. What is most problematic about Manosphere content is the impact of superficial masculinity on men's mental health. As discussed, the frequently unattainable ideals of manhood that these speakers elevate, alienate, and marginalize the masculinity of a great deal of men who don't fit these ideals. All right. What version of masculinity are you offering men? Because from what I see, all you're offering them is a big box of nothing. And if they're alternatively, what's in that big box of nothing is a whole bunch of blame and shame. So masculinity has no worth, except it is responsible for everything bad in the world. So it sort of has worth as a scapegoat. Because what does that have to do? Like, they're telling men, get fit, get a job, get wealthy. These are unobtainable ideas. They're sure as hell more obtainable than the absolute nothing you want men to be. Like you offer men nothing.
Yep.
You don't say this is how you become a man. You don't even say that's desirable to have a male identity. You offer them fucking nothing, and you wonder why. You have your booth, and you're like, hey dudes, how would you like a bunch of hot fried nothing? Give me your money.
No thanks.
And then you're confused why men are walking past your booth of nothing, or even, hey, we'll shame the hell out of you. We'll tell you that your gender identity is worthless, and that if you take any kind of positive identity from it, you're an asshole who hates women and you feel superior to them. We'll give you some shame and blame. That's what we offer. And you're wondering why men and boys are walking past you. I mean, not even all of them. Some are still like, yeah, sure, I deserve that. You know, but a lot of them are walking past you. Or the ones who come to your booth, leave your booth, and then kill themselves. And then you don't have any customers because your customers are killing themselves. Well, you wonder why that's happening? Because an unobtainable ideal of manhood is better than no, absolutely no worth to manhood whatsoever. And these guys do not understand that. They refuse to understand that because they don't want anything that excludes women.
Yep.
What's most problematic? Okay. They are sent on a fool's errand, becoming this mythical paragon of masculinity who consort with women like currency, have tons of cars, smoke cigars all the time, and have a steroid-induced physique. Incidentally, that is the only thing, that stereotype is like the only thing feminists left to masculinity after they reduced the masculinity norms index to almost nothing. Like it used to be being a provider, being a father, being community-minded, being responsible, upholding your expectations and all that. No, they got rid of all of that because that could also apply to women. And then they just left this playboy materialist as the only thing that men could be, could aspire to be different, to differentiate them from women. And what a surprise. It's a playboy materialist that men aspire to now. This was...
Of course.
That's an agreement.
No man will realize their self-worth from this path. No. So what? Okay. I will stop assuming what they're going to do. In fact, they will likely worsen their self-esteem. Following this toxic dogma off a cliff, Manosphere disciples lack the tools to process these negative emotions. Incels encourage effusive, self-deprecating whining. Geez, that's not judgmental. Alpha males preach a pseudo-stoicism that really involves bottling up your emotions. And to finish it all off, you have the most noxious content creator of all denouncing therapy and impugning the legitimacy of the mental health struggle. Okay, then they go off into the Andrew Tate. Okay, I'm going to impugn it, right? The association, the American Psychological Association, is moving towards regarding masculinity as a mental health problem. Like right now, they're saying masculinity increases your likelihood of having mental health problems. So they're groping towards just calling masculinity a mental health problem. There's a little bit of a step. I don't know. There's a little bit of light between the two things at the moment because they're saying masculinity or adherence to traditional masculinity increases your likelihood of having mental health issues. Right? Because men are more likely to commit suicide. Therefore, the problem is their gender identity. So many people who are informed by nonsense like that are not the best people. And they also basically say that men adhere to their gender identity because they hate women. And what I mean by that is they just don't want to be, they're femiphobes. They think that women are lesser. Therefore, they want to keep that unique identity, unique value proposition that they feel like men have. And if they didn't just hate women, they would let go of that and avail themselves of all of the positive benefit of the feminine mindset when it comes to mental health. But because they don't, they kill themselves, and that's their own fault. Do you really think that that's a good message for men who are struggling with mental health issues? Because I don't.
Nope.
All right. So they finally get to their point. What is the point of acknowledging the struggles of men? There is a body of feminist scholarship that suggests overemphasis on men's mental health and the pity for men.
Oh no.
Manosphere is playing to the grieved entitlement delusion and enabling male victimhood mentality. Oh, so you recognize that on your side, there is a whole bunch of contempt that is heaped on men for any kind of perceived vulnerability. Do you see that? They just recognize that.
Yeah.
But you don't go a step further and realize, hey, maybe our ideology is causing a lot of resentment because it heaps contempt on men for having any vulnerabilities. Maybe it's causing a lot of resentment in men. No, you don't take that step because that resentment has to be completely illegitimate. While there is merit to mindfulness about the way we extend empathy to perpetrators of harm. Oh, good. Okay, here we go. Guys.
Yeah, right off the bat, you're already wrong. Like, right off the bat.
Men, it's no longer men, it's perpetrators of harm. The path
Yep.
forward is not paved with pointed fingers and blanket demonization, which you just did. Like, did you notice that? Men was replaced with perpetrators of harm.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're saying that these men are in fact monsters.
But obviously all men, because all men can be vulnerable to these things. By neglecting compassion for those we deem problematic and dangerous, we've engaged humanity's greatest folly, forgetting to see ourselves and other people. God, you're disgusting.
Oh my God, this is so gross, man.
The empathetic reproach, and again, most of this stuff is calling out men for having preferences sexually. So calling out men for having the audacity of believing they have a right to say no.
Mm-hmm.
The empathetic approach doesn't forgive, enable, justify, or excuse men's right to say no. Most of this is just a document about how, men, you don't have a right to decide where and when you consent to sex or relationships or who with. The empathetic approach doesn't forgive, enable, justify, or excuse. If you're listening to me and you're a man, you have every right to decide when and where you have sex, with whom you have sex, with whom you have a relationship with. You have every right to your preferences, and don't let this rapey bullshit tell you different, because it is rapey bullshit. And it's unbelievable that they are framing the idea that men have the right to say no as toxic, abusive perpetration of harm. The emphatic approach just seeks to paint a complete picture. If the Manosphere ran on pure malice and evil, it would have died a long time ago. The meat of toxic masculinity is lost men finding the wrong answers.
Actually, if the Manosphere ran on pure malice and evil, and you believe that men have the same thread or the same part of their body that would like support this idea, because obviously you feel like the Manosphere is dangerous enough that you have to intervene because men aren't going to step up. If it was true, you wouldn't be able to write this piece. Like, men would just run shit. If men wanted to run shit, they would just run shit. And it's like 16 people that worked on this, and 11 of them were women. They would just not have jobs. They would just not have it. Like, the fact that you can, they shouldn't, but I'm saying the fact that they can write this piece and get money from the government is proof against the case they're trying to make. Like, it exists that men are letting you do this is proof that they are not what you think they are. And when you say if the Manosphere ran on pure malice and evil, like, you wouldn't be able to stop them, is what I'm saying. Not without appealing to other men.
Well, look at what they're choosing to spend money on. They're choosing to spend money on a document that essentially problematizes men's preferences for sex and relationships instead of money on sexual service, like sexual abuse services for men and boys. Money on intervening when these kind of things happen. Money on men's issues, actually on men's issues. They're choosing to spend money on how to get men back into benefiting women rather than actually choosing to spend money on helping men. That is our society in a nutshell. The meat of toxic masculinity is lost men finding the wrong answers. What are the answers that these people are offering? We won't help them find the right ones unless we see them as the vulnerable and flawed human beings that they are. By preserving rapport, trust, and respect for the human decency of all, Manosphere countermeasures will be far more forthcoming, and the community of tolerance and kindness that we use to entice them back will be so much more warm and inviting. What was that one podcast? What were you calling it? Victimhood Blackjack?
Yeah, I forgot. I already closed the window.
Victimhood-centered research does not demand the vilification of violent perpetrators, but we should vilify violent perpetrators.
Yeah, We Are Man Enough was the name of the podcast.
Nor
it was just
empathetic
intersectional blackjack.
absolve past wrongs or diminish their harms. Above everything, we must fight to preserve the humanity in everyone, no matter how horrible their actions. Like, aside from the terrorist, like the people who engaged in violent action, who presumably now behind bars, meaning that the system works, what else do you have a problem with? Men having opinions, men having preferences, men saying no to women, men rejecting women. Like, these are things that you just have to live with. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Key actors, holistic approach, the Manosphere. It will require...
Are we doing this now?
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Okay. I'll a half hour. It will require a whole of society approach to tackle the intricate landscape of countering and preventing violent extremism and the Manosphere and misogynist narratives. This section underscores the strategic and ethical considerations for practitioners in disseminating research, advocates for tailored approaches, blah, blah, blah. So what's the ethical consideration? I mean, you're dealing with a vulnerable group of people. Do you not push things that make them feel like they're more likely to be burdens on others? You know, analyzing the complex role of very large platforms. No, but what is it? Okay, ultimately, this is a lot of shit. What are they offering men? Like, right now, it's a big box of nothing. Maybe, plus shame.
Well, dude, this is just, it's just downstream TDS. Like, look at this right here. Okay. Trends, very large online platforms. So so they have this stupid pyramid, whatever. And it says, large online platforms. On X, there is an increasing normalization around misogynist hate speech, endorsed by its CEO. So basically, Elon Musk, again, an avatar, a symbol that they hate because he's a man that was like, I think I'm going to do some free speech on this platform. I'm not even saying that I like Elon Musk or whatever. I like what he did with Twitter, okay? But they're saying this is dangerous because, again, they want to control the framing. He disrupts that. They hate that. They hate him. They probably own his cars because they're fucking rich coastal elites that probably own Teslas, but they hate him anyway. And again, it says here, let's just give a reinstatement of accounts includes. So he reinstated people. Don't do that. Known figures such as conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, another avatar, and former U.S. President Donald Trump. I already mentioned that. TDS is real. I've seen it. It's completely irrational. And the same goes for Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, whoever, Alex Jones, Stefan Molyneux. It doesn't matter. Fucking it's just straight white man or straight man that's white adjacent has opinions. He is the enemy and he reflects everything that we hate. So they're just going to name names. That's all it is. I hate this guy. I hate anyone who likes this guy. I'm surprised Tucker Carlson's not on here too, because he's basically just as bad. Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you think about those people. That's not the point. They have put him into a box. They're like, this is the bad man because he represents what we hate. It doesn't matter. It could be anyone, okay? So this is what all they're doing is more of this. This is literally, is this like a woman thing? Is this a woman thing? Okay,
yes.
Where is that?
Discourse, controlling this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
is very
it's tone policing taken to the fucking federal level. All right, let's see.
First of all,
improve terms and conditions. Okay.
I just want to note that so far as I can tell, they aren't actually offering anything for men. They aren't offering a positive identity. They aren't offering a route for excellence. They are offering anything. Nothing. They don't think that men have any kind of unique value proposition to give to the world. They think that men are a void. They're offering a big box of nothing, and alternatively, they offer you a role as a scapegoat for society. And when they offer nothing, they are con artists. Like, they are attempting to con men. They're attempting to put their thumb on the scale so they can successfully con men into adopting their nothing, into getting nothing, into purchasing nothing. All right, okay. And this is what their plans are. So this is actually where it gets a little sinister. Well, it's already sinister. Improve terms and conditions.
Increase censorship.
Very large online platforms should explicitly include incel ideology in hate speech or terrorism terms and conditions. Any post function should at least do a rudimentary
Increase censorship.
Yeah, for problematic content before publication. Implement rigorous AI detection for harmful content.
Increase censorship. It's all the same.
AI should be used extensively to detect and flag harmful content. This includes the identification of incel content coupled with swift removal of content promoting manosphere content that violates community guidelines. Again, a lot of their problem with this was men simply expressing a preference or rejecting women based on their behavior. So they don't want that. Like, this is institutional rape. This is the first time in my life that I think I'm seeing rape culture. They don't want men to be able to publicly talk or validate their decisions about who they want in relationships or as sexual partners. Such mitigation measures will not only slow down the growth of Manosphere influencer accounts, but also ensure that fan accounts do not have the opportunity to download and reuse content. More censorship. Reduce amplification.
Can I make a point about Meta? Meta is the Facebook project or whatever that Zuckerberg's putting together. It's dead in the water, and the reason is because it's anti-free speech. Facebook is not a free speech platform at all by any stretch. They're in the pocket with the government, and these people are angry at Twitter because it's less like that, and so they want to bring it in line with Meta. That's why they're using Meta as a kind of model example, but it's literally like, no, it's terrible. Terrible.
Amplification of harmful narratives. Platforms need to do more to reduce the impact, the echo chamber effect from algorithmic amplification of problematic narratives. So
more
narratives
censorship
that don't promote their power narrative, their control.
Yeah.
Their big box of nothing that they want to give men. Like, you have, like, this is what their message is. You have nothing of worth to give the world as a man. Nothing of worth, except, despite the fact that you have nothing of worth to give as a man, you are to blame for society because you have patriarchal privilege. This is the message that they want to continue to push on men. And this is how they're going to do it. Through censorship, through putting their thumb on the scale, and through continuing to push their control, their current control. Protect harmless content creators. With content from non-problematic content creators being used by Manosphere accounts to make points in support of their ideology, better protection mechanisms need to be in place for the vast majority of content creators not to have their creations misused. So all the women saying, I am the table, are going to have to be protected from men saying, look, women say that they are the table. That means you have to be better than them to bring something to the table. Whether it's clipped from innocent street interviews or videos calling out disrespectful behavior at the gym, such as Joey Swole, Manosphere influencers have used these content clips from the other creators to push misogynist viewpoints. For example, the Red Pill Hub. Joey Swole calls out women who are using false accusations to harm people. Like, what the? So basically,
no. But what they're saying is, Joey Swole is okay because
No, he's not. They're not saying.
No, it says whether it's
or videos calling out disrespectful behavior at the gym. Manosphere influencers have used.
Yeah. So it's essentially saying
to push.
So it's using Joey Swole to push misogynist. So they're trying to side with him because he's not really a Manosphere creator, and but Red Pill guys and Manosphere people are like, oh yeah, he's saying something that we agree with, and because we agree, they're saying that the people who you shouldn't take out Joey Swole.
So basically,
because other people are using him. Yeah.
Because Joey Swole actually calls out the disrespectful behavior. And so Manosphere creators can't say, hey, this is the disrespectful behavior he's calling out.
Yeah, but Joey Swole doesn't target women. He just goes after toxic behavior at the gym. It just so happens that the stuff that goes viral and the stuff that he probably, it's women. It's the stuff that becomes, that he's more likely to call out is what women are doing.
Face recognition and content moderation. Platforms should leverage and further develop AI applications such as face recognition and alternative
Oh my
identification,
God. Yeah,
which
of
can
course.
play a crucial role in addressing the escalating challenge posed by the proliferation of Manosphere fan accounts disseminating content from banned influencers. Oh, so more censorship.
More censorship, more control, more monitoring. This is basically just, this is what happens when this is feminine power, like, expressed. Like, literally, like, whenever you give women a little bit of power, they want to control men. And that's what's happening. I mean, that's all it is. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I know I'm sorry to paint with a broad brush, but that's, like, what it looks like. What happens when crazy histrionic women are given a little bit of power? They want to monitor men. They want to control their preferences. They want to deny them, like, humanity because they're afraid of them. So they just go far.
Deeper,
I mean, like,
but I won't.
Yeah.
Our take: protecting the people and the work. All right. So essentially, they just want to use Satan. They recognize that men are vulnerable. But instead of allowing men to go towards content creators that actually give them a sense of purpose and worth, these again, what are these people offering then? Notice how nothing is that detail. Nothing.
They want to monitor them. They want to control them. That's all.
That's it.
Yeah.
Our take: protecting the people and the work. Of course, they mean themselves. For Diverting Hate, recent experiences have been a significant learning opportunity. We recognize that the research conducted has been co-opted by the Manosphere to portray themselves as martyrs. As a result, the Diverting Hate team has taken new approaches to publishing our research, acknowledging the potential risks associated with public access to the research and prioritizing the safety of the team and the integrity of the work. This shift in approach aims to mitigate the unintended consequences of the findings being misrepresented or weaponized while still allowing Diverting Hate to continue our efforts in a more secure environment. You are a publicly funded NGO. Tax money goes to you. What you do should be public. How practitioners can do the hard work and be safe. In the dynamic landscape of countering, preventing violent extremism, the responsibility of violent extremism, just giving men an idea that they have worth. The responsibility of practitioners extends beyond conducting rigorous research and to include the thoughtful and ethical dissemination of findings. Think strategically and ethically about what research actually needs to be public-facing. For many organizations working in the countering and preventing violent extremism space, bringing general awareness to the public is mission critical. However, serious consideration needs to go whether it interferes with other mission critical activities, such as, in the case of Diverting Hate, working together with our partner organizations to stop people from falling further into the rabbit hole of the manosphere. Not only functional, but also ethical considerations need to go into the decision of where and what to share publicly. So they're basically gating their own content because they're worried about how it makes them look. Okay, that podcast that they promote, Man Enough, I want to know, does it offer anything, any kind of unique value that men offer to society? Unique to them. Any at all? Does it have any kind of recognition of what men are doing currently in society to sustain it? Does it do any of that? Does it offer any kind of path forward? Or does it just offer condemnation, victimhood blackjack, and more dehumanizing crap, as well as being being uniquely positioned by these powerful institutions to be advanced ahead of any other content? Like, we're not at 71,000 freaking subscribers, but they are.
Yep.
What is happening here is really simple. When you strip young men of a positive identity, they become violent. And the extremism doesn't come necessarily in incels. There's also extremism when it comes to Islamic extremism. ideological extremism of other kinds and stripes,
Male feminists.
male feminist extremism, like all of this. This extremism comes when you strip young men of an identity. That is what's happening. It is as simple as that. But you don't want to give them an identity because you find it beneficial to control them when they don't have one. Right? Because then you can make them work for it. Prepare for research to circulate in the community of intervention. There is a high likelihood that research will be interpreted as an attack or ideological smear. However, as researchers, we must be guided by the same ethical considerations granted to other research subjects. Concretely, this means respecting the individuals within the community by ensuring their voices are accurately represented and their privacy is protected, avoiding sensationalism in presenting research findings, and prioritizing dignity and well-being of all. Consider multiple interpretations. Really? Define every term that's not straightforward. Standing behind our research and team as an organization. Proper operational security.
Support us, period. Like, don't question it. Yeah.
Are you sure we shouldn't just keep going? Because this sounds like it's really critical to get out there.
Yeah, but it's 2.5 hours. It's 9:39 over here. I mean, we started late. Okay, let's finish it.
How men's wellness orgs can meet men in the manosphere, speaking their language. When engaging individuals and groups within the manosphere, it is essential to exercise caution in aligning with the distinct preferences of each group. Utilizing language and themes that resonate with specific groups allows for a sense of belonging and interest among the positive male organizations that are promoted. However, it is imperative to avoid using language that is derogatory or hateful towards women, as this could further reinforce misogynist biases within these groups. So you can't actually recognize that men have preferences and women can be bad actors. Likewise, it's essential to avoid using language that perpetrates victimhood or romanticizes individual lifestyle choices that as acts of martyrdom. Instead, we should strive to strike a balance that validates diverse perspectives without endorsing harmful beliefs.
You don't believe in diverse perspectives. Fuck off.
Taylor,
you don't.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Tailoring messages to cater to specific groups of men is essential, acknowledging the limitations of one-size-fits-all approach. Okay, emphasizing the unique aspects of the male experience becomes crucial. Validating and highlighting perspectives in a way that fosters connection. I'm curious.
I feel like all this is bullshit. Like they're not gonna do that. They're gonna direct guys towards a certain kind of a model of manhood that they believe. It's very narrow. It's very safe. None of it. I don't think they're being honest about any of this. I don't think so.
They're pushing.
Like, well, yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. It says emphasize the unique aspects of the male experience. It's all just bullshit language, man.
That's amazing. You said a whole truckload of words that had no meaning.
Okay.
And it's ultimately about like, it's like talking to a child to get them to behave without like using like mean language, but you want them to behave a certain way. So you just say, "Oh, look, I'm just emphasizing your unique aspects of you." But at the end of the day, you're going to act like all the other men, which is essentially you're not allowed to have preferences. You're not allowed to have opinions. You're not allowed to be angry. All you can do is, and you can't like hold it in. So all you can do is cry, be depressed, and maybe suicidal. But that's not my fault. That's yours. That's what it's going to look like.
Yeah, there's no conversation about men's issues. There's no conversation about recognizing unique things that men bring to society.
Just don't overreact.
It's corporate speech. Developing advertisements that incorporate themes from different manosphere groups can stimulate interest and engagement. Segmenting themes into general manosphere categories and exclusive themes, for specific groups allowed for a nuanced approach. Advertising questions related to dating and sex for the pickup artist community, or issues like divorces, fatherhood, and suicide rates for MGTOW and MRM groups can be done using their own statistics and concerns without blaming women for systemic issues.
Then who do we... Wait, whoa. What, we're just going to blame men? Oh, I see. So we can use all the data that we have, and then we blame patriarchy for it instead. Because they're saying without blaming women. But women can never do any wrong. They're angelic. They're perfect. If men suffer, even if a woman is like splashing with acid because she thought that like he had another woman on his phone, but it turned out it was just her when she was younger, that's just patriarchy. It's not women. Women can't do anything bad. That's impossible.
Without blaming women for systemic issues. What the hell does that even mean?
It's not only.
But you blame men for systemic issues. Like that's almost the entirety of the ideology.
It's divorce from reality. Like this is just divorce from reality. They obviously they're criticizing something they don't even understand.
Well,
because they're making shit up.
Is that there can be nothing negative that comes from the feminine. So because women would as a group might act in a certain way, which might look like it's systemic. So you can't actually point that out. Well, there goes all of comedy.
Well, I mean, what is the divorce courts and what are the family courts if not a system? Like, I mean, you
can't blame men for being simps, so we can't say, well, actually, a lot of the family court problem is men who don't recognize the importance of fathers in their children's lives. We can't do that because that's calling out simping. Okay, so we just basically can't blame women or men for a society that chooses to ignore men's issues in order to continue to benefit supposedly women. In targeting specific audiences associated with particular influencers, using the language employed by those influencers is essential. Okay, you know what? Okay, I'm going to tell you how to just easily slice through the crap that the fog that they're creating. Honesty is a fundamental aspect of a successful outreach. By appealing to those who can relate to personal experiences and perspectives, and an honest and relatable dialogue is established.
Ironic.
Promoting an uplifting version of manhood is advocating, framing those efforts as an evolution towards higher ideals rather than deconstructing traditional notions. But deconstructing traditional notions is the ultimate goal. Drawing inspiration from content creators who understand what empowers men can be instrumental in developing effective community strategies. Using terms like brotherhood, community support, and self-empowerment conveys emotional vulnerability positively. Why? So you can draw in the emotionally vulnerable in order to redirect them towards seeing how they could be potentially dangerous to women?
Manosphere guys use those terms already. So they're pretending they're making this shit up, but they're just taking it. They just don't like that we actually, and I say we, they don't like that we actually have influence over men and we're not demonizing them. And they're walking away from this shit, and they're like, "Well, we can't have that because we want to control men." Well, that's what it is.
There's two options. Men continue to listen to these people, continue to see themselves as burdens, and kill themselves, or just die inside, or they get away from it and go towards people who actually present a positive view of manhood. I mean. Like, that's it. Those are the two options. If you don't want to actually recognize men as having a unique value, then you offer them nothing. Avoiding politically correct or overly academic jargon is imperative, as these terms may disengage the audience regardless of whether they agree in principle. Okay, this is all bullshit. Like, if you encounter these people, if you go down, you can see them. All you need to do is just ask yourself, what do they offer? What do they offer? Do they offer recognition of your issues as a man? Do they offer your ability to actually recognize that women are capable of being evil? Right? Do they offer you a recognition of your unique value as a man? And if the answer is no, then they offer nothing. Don't bother. Like, you're not gonna get anything from nothing. They're just nothing. They give you a big box of nothing, except for shame and blame. You know, like, they're deconstructing the male identity. That's what they're doing. They even said it. The one passingly positive thing they said was still at its core about deconstructing the male identity. And when they mean traditional masculinity, they mean anything that men bring to the table that is unique to them. That's what they mean. Right? That's what they mean. Anything. Okay? And
Yeah.
that's it. All right. So I know you want to get going.
Well, the next section is a whole other show. I mean, the Will Adolphi interview about his book.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it could be good, but it's going to be
at the podcast, our Fediverse alternates, like
Yeah.
Fediverse evil clones that have been promoted to replace us. I'm pretty sure we're probably on some secret list somewhere. Oh, good grief. So we basically, as a society, we've decided to strip away men's identity based on a unproven conjecture, a conjecture that hasn't even gotten to the point of the first baby step of being proven, right? Then we've decided to do this, and then we have this government organization that's justifying it, is trying to silence people because it doesn't want to deal with the knock-on effects of the destruction of the male identity, which also includes all this trans ideology, by the way, conservatives. We have Super Chows.
I have
anything else?
One. No, we have two.
Yes,
You're
two.
Right. So I have two Super Chows. One from Anonymous. They say, jokes enter language through introduction as redacted and reduced. That is a very sophisticated joke, if that's a joke, because I don't get it. And then we got one for $5 from Feminist Midwittery. Says, feminists believe that men can both control the patriarchy, just stop oppressing us, and cannot control the patriarchy. Patriarchy sometimes backfires and hurts men too. This is a contradiction, but when midwits encounter a contradiction, they just pretend it does not exist and double down on the theory. When a scientist encounters a contradiction, such as the conflict between quantum mechanics and general relativity, the theories need to be fundamentally reworked. Midwits just feel that the theory is right, and so ignore the contradiction and the cognitive dissonance that comes with it.
Yeah, that's true. And something occurred to me when you were saying that patriarchy sometimes backfires and hurts men too. Well, then, if patriarchy was about benefiting men predominantly, it would have fixed all of men's problems before it ever gave women the vote.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, once again, if you want to send us a message at any time, we'll get to it as soon as we can at the most, well, if we do this topic again. You can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Really helps us out. And you also get to avoid YouTube's comment. I almost said censorship. You get to avoid having your comment go through these people. Because let's face it, they probably already have a backdoor at YouTube.
Yep.
Feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a tip. Feedthebadger.com/support to make sure that we can continue to keep doing this content. And feedthebadger.com/subscribe if you want to get a subscription to us, a direct subscription to us, and gain access to our bonus content, which we do quite a bit of as well. All right, so those are the options to help us out. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip for comments. Feedthebadger.com/support to just give us a pledge, and feedthebadger.com/subscribe to start up more of a one-on-one kind of thing. All right, back to you, Brian.
Do you have any thank yous to give?
No, I don't. But
all right.
Thank yous to Ree for that $100. Thank you.
Was that from before? Did I not?
Oh no, we've already done it. We've already done it.
Oh, okay.
I'd do it again.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. And please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you so much for coming on today's episode of, what is this again?
Fed-pilled and moisturized.
Yeah, moisturized and fed-pilled. And we'll talk to you all in the next one. I don't know if there's gonna be another one, but
better than you? I guess I'm going a little further than you are. Yeah, I'm fucking better than you. Okay? Much better than you. You are garbage.